Alright, so, last time on Umineko, we completed episode 7. A lot of reveals, a lot of explanations, a lot of understanding. Still a lot of, oddities too, but and it keeps going. So now we're going with the, tea party. The episode 7 tea party. And I've been told that this is a really good one. So, we'll find out. And bear with me, my table's a little bit of a mess because I got painting stuff in my way. Hello? Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Cool, you made it. Alright. When I came to, all was silent. The room was dimly lit, and yet it was massive. Where on earth is this? I was sitting in what seemed to be a very short sofa. It was very constricting and looked like there were several more of them off to each side of me. It's an interesting way to put it. Once I noticed that, I realized that I was in a theater. Where on earth am I? I don't know how long I've been here. And, more importantly, I don't know where this is. Beatrice's funeral ended. Everyone went back to the mansion. And after that, my memory gets fuzzy. And I can't recall anything else. Then, I was surprised to notice the presence of another person. Apparently, I wasn't the only one sitting in the audience seating of the vast theater. The sound had come from a seat to the side of mine. When I looked, I saw a girl sitting several seats off to my left. It was a face I had never seen before. Yes, I did. I've got it up and ready as soon as this ends, if we got time. Who is she? Haven't taken a look at it whatsoever, but it should be all right there running, as far as I know. It was a face I had never seen before. Who is she? She looked like a high schooler or a college student, about the same age as I was. Get the... She groaned. Apparently, she had just woken up. I didn't want to scare her, so I decided to introduce myself first.
Konnichiwa.
Hello. Angie. Apparently, she was equally surprised to find someone other than herself here. She jumped when she heard my greeting.
誰? あんた?
Who the hell are you?
私も同じ気持ちです。
I feel the same way.
どうやら私た
It
ちは
seems that neither of us is here of our own accord.
それ
Is that
片翼の紋章?
the one-winged crest?
え?
Huh?
この紋章をご存知なんですか?
Recognize this crest? Yeah, she probably should. She looked suspiciously at the one-winged crest emblazoned on my collar. Her stare, which was unmoving, but not openly hostile, wasn't exactly pleasant for me.
先に私が名乗り
Allow
ましょ
me
う。
to introduce myself first.
私は
I
後
am
ろ宮リオン
Ushirmiya
と申し
Leon.
ます。後ろ宮
Ushirmiya. Huh?
何?
What?
リオンです。
Leon.
理科の理に
Written
魚
as
するの魚でリオン
but
と呼びま
pronounced
す。
Leon.
珍しい名前でしょ?
Pretty strange name, don't you think?
名前の珍しさなら
No stranger than
私
mine.
も負けないわ。でもごめんなさい。
But I'll have to apologize.
私はあんたを
I
知
don't
らない
know
わ。
who you are.
道理でしょうね。
That's hardly surprising,
私もあなたを知りません
since
か
I
ら。
don't know you either.
そうじゃなくて。
That's not what I meant.
あんた誰?
Who are you?
後ろ宮家に
There's
あん
no
た
one
なんか
like
いな
you
いの。
in the Ushirmiya family.
どうしてそう決めつけられるん
Why
で
are
す？
you so sure?
あなたは当
Do
家
you
と
have
何か
something to
関
do
わり
with
が？
my family? Just a bit.
私が後ろ宮家の
I'm a
人間
member
だ
of
から
the
よ。
Ushirmiya family.
それは
But that's... She showed me her left sleeve, and the crest of the one-winged eagle emblazoned upon it.
お言葉を返すようです
I
が、
regret having to ask
あ
the
なた
same
こそ誰で
question,
す？
but who are you?
後ろ宮家であ
I've
なたを
never
見た
seen
こと
you
が
in
な
the
い。
Ushirmiya family.
細切れにされたり
First, they tear me
朗
into
読
little
させ
bits.
られたり。
Then they make me read.
次は何？
What's next?
今度はどこの
Which
魔
witch
女
am
の
I
余興
supposed
な
to be
の？
entertaining
こ
this
れは。
time? She spat out those words and seemed to be complaining about something.
エンジェ。
Angie.
私は後ろ
I'm
宮エンジェ。
Ushirmiya Angie.
ルドルフとキリエの
Rudolph
娘よ。
and Kiri's daughter.
え？
What?
エンジェちゃん。
Angie-chan?
だってエンジェ
But
ちゃんは
you're supposed
ま
to
だ
be
6つのは
6 years
ず。
old.
私が6つだったのは
I was 6
六
during
軒
the
島
final
で
year
最
of
後
the
の
fi-
親族
fi-
会議があったあの年の話よ。
I was 6 during the year of the final family conference on Rockinjima.
なるほど。
Now I get it.
あんたが
Well, you're a person
1986年
from
の
the year
人間であることは分
1986.
かったわ。私は18よ。
I'm 18 years old,
そして
and I'm from the year
1998年の人
1998.
間。つまり
In other words,
12年後の未
you're
来の
the Angie-chan of
エンジェちゃん。
12 years in the future?
納得してもらえて嬉しい
I'm
わ。
glad you believe it.
でも申し
But
訳ないことに
unfortunately,
私にあ
I
な
don't
たの
have a
心当た
clue
りが
who
ない
you
わ。
are.
あなたは誰？
Who are you?
親は？
Who are your parents?
父はクラウス。
My father is Kraus.
母はナツヒ。
Natsuhi is my mother.
それはジェシカお
That
姉
would
ちゃんだ
make you
わ。
Jessica One-chan.
ジェシカは妹で
Jessica
す。
is my little sister. My title doesn't quite fit unless you're thinking of it ironically.
どういうこと？
What's going on?
ジェシカお姉ちゃんは
Wasn't
一
Jessica
人っ子じゃなか
One-chan
った
an
の？
only child? By this point, I was starting to figure out the situation this Angie had come from. She's probably from the world where I awakened as a witch, the world where Leon doesn't exist.
説明するのは難しい
It
ですが、
will be a bit difficult to
こう思ってください。
explain, but think of it this way.
あなたの知る世界
In
と
a
別の
world
世界では
slightly different from the one you
私
know,
も後ろ宮
I
家の
am
人
also
間
a
なんで
member
す。
of the Ushirmiya family.
あなたの世界で
In
の
your
私
world,
は
a different
別の
fate
運命によ
leads
り
me to
別の
walk
人
a
生を
different
歩み、
path through life,
後ろ宮家の
so
人
that I
間
do
とし
not
て生きて
live
はい
as
ない
an
のです。
Ushirmiya family member.
あんた、魔女
Are
なの？
you a witch?
残念ながら普通の
Sorry
人
to
間です。
disappoint you, but I'm just an ordinary human. Not quite ordinary still.
今の話は魔女の
What I
ベル
just
ンカ
told
ステ
you
ルさんに
is
教えら
something
れ
I
たことで
heard
す。
from the witch called Burncastle-san.
ベルンカステル？
Burncastle?
あの青い長
That
髪
one
の
with the long blue hair and the gloomy face?
ええ
Yes.
多分そんな
That
容姿だったと
probably
思い
fits
ます。
her, I think.
つまり
In other words,
私はまた
I've been forced to play along with another witch's farce.
ここは一体？
Just where is this place?
私もさっき目を
I
覚まし
only
たば
woke
か
up
りで
a
す。
second ago myself.
ここはどこ
I'm
でしょう？
wondering the same thing.
劇場に見えるわ。
It looks like a theater.
何かを感
Are we
激しろっ
supposed
て
to
の
watch
か
a
しら。
play or something?
今はそういう気分ではあり
I'm
ませ
really
ん
not in the
ね。
mood now.
出口を探しましょう。
Let's look for an exit.
気づいてないの？
You haven't noticed yet?
これ。
Look.
これは
These are... Shit. Clank. I finally noticed. Both my wrists and ankles had chains attached to them. As long as I sat here, I had enough slack that I could move about a little, but it looked like there wouldn't be nearly enough for me to get out of this place.
いつの間に
When did...
誰がこんなこと
Who
を？
would do something like this? A witch.
魔女の駒に落ちたら
Once a witch has made you her piece,
永遠にあ
you'll
いつ
be
らの
their
おもちゃよ。
plaything forever.
逃げられない。
There's no way to escape. Angie crossed her legs, making the chains clank together. She realized that no amount of struggling could have broken those chains. Getting panicky wouldn't accomplish anything. She must have had nerves of steel. No, just a lot of time spent with witches.
魔女の駒とは
What do you mean, a witch's piece?
あいつらの下僕みたいなもん
It's
よ。
like being their slave.
私は取
I
引
made
した
a
の。
deal once.
家族に会いたい。
I said I wanted to see
あ
my
の人ら
family,
連れ戻したいって。
to bring them back from that day.
魔女はその可能
In
性を与え
exchange
る
for
代わり
making
に
that possibility,
私を魔女の
that
駒
witch
としたの。
turned me into a witch's piece.
少なくとも魔女
At
は約
least
束を
the
守っ
witch
たわ
kept
ね
her。promise.
お兄ちゃんに会うこと
I
だ
was
けは
able
で
to
き
see
たんだ
Oni-chan
し。
again.
バトラ君のこと
You mean Battler-kun?
エンジェだと
Well,
名乗る
I
ことも
wasn't
でき
even
なかっ
able
た
to
けど
tell him
ね。
who I was,
そして
and in
その
exchange
ささ
for
や
that
かな
short
時
bit
間
of
と引
time,
き換えに
I'm now trapped
私は
inside
今
the
もこう
witch's
して
toy box for all
魔女
eternity.
のおもちゃ箱の中からどうやらあんた
Looks
もそ
like
の
you
お
are
仲間の
too.
ようね。何を契約した
Did you
の？
make some sort of contract?
私は何も
Nothing of the sort.
何かを魔女
Did
に
you
望
ever
んだん
ask
じ
a
ゃない
witch
の？
to grant a wish for you?
何も
Never.
私という存在
She
が
taught me what a
どれだ
miracle
け
my
奇跡である
existence
かを
is.
教えてもらいました。それだけです
That's all.
いずれにせよ
Either way,
私たち
neither
は
of
ここ
us
から
is
逃れ
getting
ら
out
れ
of
ない。
here.
さあ魔女たち、
Witches,
今度はどんな余興を
what
見
kind
せ
of
てくれ
show
る
do you
の？
have for us this time?
朗読の
Have
次
we
は
moved
感
from
激。
reading aloud to theater going?
今度は
Am I
私が
supposed to
誰か
watch
の朗
something
読を
else?
見るっていう
Someone
の？
else read aloud this time? Or what?
ならば始めて
If
ちょう
that's
だい。
it, then start it up already.
私はとっく
I'm
に
bored
退屈
enough
してい
as
る
it
の。
is. Angie held this to the pitch black stage. Her voice reverberated throughout the theater, but no one gave an answer. No, someone did. And that was also in a voice that rang out across the theater. However, that voice sounded theatrical, as though someone was announcing the start of a play.
あの日に何
What
があった
happened on that
か
day, you ask?
教えてなん
I'm
てあ
not
げない
telling.
わ。へそで
If
も
only you
飛ん
just
で
give up
死
and
んじゃ
die.
えば。
この声は
Whose voice was that?
あのババアよ。
That old hag.
エヴァおばさん
It
の
was
声だよ。
Antiva's voice.
あの日に何があったか
What
と
does she
は
mean by what happened on that day? She's
1986
talking
年
about the 4th and 5th of October in the year 1986,
六軒島で
the day of the
最
final
後の
family
親族
conference
会議
in
が行われた
Rokujima.
日のことよ。
今日
In other
ですね。
words, today. Today is relative in this realm. Today is October 4th, 1986. As a prelude to the family conference, Beatrice's funeral was held.
驚いたわ。
That's a surprise.
あんたは1986年
So,
の
you've
10
come
月
here
4日
from
から来た
October
っていうの？
4th, 1986?
教えて、
Tell me,
一体
what
この
happened
2
during
日間
those 2
何があ
days?
ったの？
The answer she seeks is inside the cat box. All I can tell her about is my close call with a sad life. However, I doubt that explanation will satisfy her. Then, a pillar of bright light pierced the stage. There stood a white shadow. That white dress was obviously Claire's. Of course, Angie didn't recognize her. She looked suspicious, apparently wondering who in the world this was. Yeah. However, even I felt as though something was wrong. Didn't she settle all of her regrets in that funeral a short while ago, before being sent off into the next world? She stood all alone in the narrow beam of light in the center of the stage, and the expression on her face was lifeless. The light began to grow brighter and brighter. It shone more and more fiercely on her, until it became blinding just to look at her. The world was enveloped by a light so bright that we couldn't open our eyes, surrounded by a sound like wind or television static. Our minds began to go blank.
今年も見事
They're
に
blooming
咲いたもん
wonderfully
や
again this year.
これを手入れす
It
る
must
の
be
は
a
大変
pain
だ
to
ろう
take
ぜ
care of all these.
めでるだけの
Pretty
俺た
easy
ち
for
は
us though.
楽な
Just
もんだ
looking at them.
どうかね。
I agree.
手入れしてくれる
We've
人
got
た
to
ちに
thank
感
the
謝
people
し
who
なく
take
ちゃ。
care of them for us.
でもちょっと
But
品が
it
な
is a
いの
bit
よ
lacking
ね。
in grace.
兄さんが変
I
に手
prefer
を
the way
加
it
える
used to
前
be
の方が
before
素敵だっ
Nissan
たわ。
decided to pile so much on.
昔のも
The
昔
old
の
look
で
did
味
have
わい
its
があっ
own
てよかっ
charm,
たわよね。
didn't it? Oh,
マリアバラ好
I
き
love roses.
トゲがなけ
I
れ
like
ば
them
も
even
っ
more
と
if
好
they
き
didn't have thorns. No.
懐かしいな
Rose
この
Garden
バ
really
ラ
takes me
テ
back.
この6年
I'd
で
totally forgotten about these past 6 years.
もうそんな
I
になるん
guess
だ
it really
ね
has been that long.
このバラ庭園も
Both you and this
So stay
garden
back,
have changed so much.
本当に見違えたよ
紹介する
Let
よ。
me introduce you.
使用人のカ
This
ノン
is
君。
Canon-kun, one of our servants.
バトラーとは初対
This
面
is
だよ
the
な。
first time you've met Battler, right?
はじめまして。
Pleased to meet you.
俺のことは
You can just
バ
call
ト
me
ラって
Battler.
呼んでくれよなよろしく頼む
Nice
ぜ
to meet you.
今日はシャノンもいるぜ。
Shannon's here too today.
一緒に遊んだの
Remember
覚え
when
て
we
る
used to play together?
ああシャノンちゃん
Ah, Shannon-chan.
すっかり忘れ
I'd
てた
totally
ぜ
forgotten.
懐
That
かしい
really takes me
な
back.
元気にしてるかい
How's she been doing?
この6年で
She's
ます
grown
ます
more and
綺麗
more
になったよ。
beautiful these past 6 years.
後で挨拶するとい
You
い
should say hi to her later on.
シャノンはジョージお
Shannon
兄
and
ちゃん
George
と
and
仲良
Echan
し
are
なの
really good friends. Ooh,
マリア。
Maria.
それは内緒な。
それでは皆様、
If you would,
そろそろ
everyone,
ゲストハウスの方
allow
へ
me to
ご案
guide
内い
you
た
to
し
the
ま
guest
す。
house. After enjoying the lovely welcome provided by the roses, the relatives followed Goda in the direction of the guest house. October 4th, 1986. Rockinjima. In a world without Leon. On the day of the Ushumiya family conference. Maria read a mysterious letter aloud after dinner, just as she had been told to. The writer of the letter claimed to be the Golden Witch Beatrice and challenged the family. Try and solve the riddle of the epitaph. Otherwise, I will take everything. It was Beatrice's announcement for the game's start, the same as the usual games. Had an unknown person appeared, related to the problem of inheritance distribution? Where was the 20 billion yen worth of gold hidden? What was the purpose of this letter? For what goal had it been written? Who on earth is this Beatrice? It was the usual dinner on October 4th, where several bits of suspicion and paranoia intertwined.
ジョージ君、
George-kun,
申し訳ないけど
I'm sorry.
みんなと一緒に
We
ゲ
could
ス
go
ト
to
ハ
the
ウス
guest
に戻
house
って
with
き
the
ていい
others.
かしら。ごめんね。
My apologies.
シャノン、
Shannon,
子供たちをゲスト
take
ハ
the
ウスへ。
children to the guest house.
私たちはこ
We
の
will
ま
move
ま
straight
親族
on to
会
the
に
family
入ります
conference.
はい
Yes,
かしこまりまし
as
た
you wish.
黄金の魔女
Beatrice
ベ
the
アトリ
Golden
ー
Witch.
チか味な手紙を
What a
よこしてくれる
fascinating
じゃん
letter you've sent us.
碑文を解い
She's
てみろ
telling
で
us
す。
to solve the epitaph?
ふざけたこと。
Ridiculous.
あの
That
黄金は
gold belongs
私たち
to
の
us.
ものよ。部外者なん
How
か
could
に
we
譲
ever
って
give it
た
up
ま
to
る
some
ものですか。
outsider?
あの黄金さえ
If
見
we
つ
just
かり
find
ゃ
that gold,
俺たちは
we'd all be
全員
happy.
ハッピー誰も損が
No
ね
one would have to lose anything.
行こうみんな
Let's go, everyone.
ここからは大人の
We'll be
話だ
having an adult conversation from here on out.
や
Sheesh.
れやれややこしそうな
Sounds
話
like
だ
it's
ぜ
gonna get complicated.
ほら、マリア、
Come on, Maria.
行くぜ。
Let's go.
ベアとの儀式が
Beta
始ま
ceremony
っ
has
たね
begun.
それでは皆様
Okay, everyone.
ゲストハ
I
ウスへ
shall
ご
guide
案
you
内
to the
しま
guest
す
house.
れは
What's
何
all
でしょう。
this about?
過去のゲームのいず
Probably
れ
a
かの
replay
再
of one of the
演か
old games, or
さも
else
なく
an
ば
entirely new game.
新しいゲームでしょうね。どのゲームであって
In all
も
the games,
10
October
月4
4th
日は
happens
ほ
in
とんど同
pretty
じ
much
展
the
開
same
だから
way.
新しいゲーム。
A new game?
これまでのか
You
けら
mean
にない
a
物
tale
語
that
とい
hasn't
うことで
appeared
すか。
in any of the fragments so far?
私たちを
There's
鎖
no
で
way they
縛
go
り
to the
付けたま
trouble
で
of
見せた
chaining
も
us
の
down
が
if they just want
す
to
でに
show
知
us
って
the
るゲー
game
ム
we
なわけ
already
で
know.
新しいゲームだと考
It's
えるべき
probably
で
a
しょ
new
うね。
game.
ならば
That means there
Game
should be a
Master
game
がいるはず。
master.
それは誰？
Who is it?
あいつ？
That witch?
ベルンカステル。
Burncastle?
私には
I can't
そうとは
imagine
思いま
so.
せん。クレルはもう消え
Claire
去った
should
は
have
ずなんで
vanished
す。
already.
新しい物語を
There
紡
should
ぐ
be no need to
必要
spin
性
up
が
a
な
new
いはず。
tale.
ベアートのゲーム版なんて
Beata's game board was hijacked by those evil witches
昭和
long
の魔女
ago.
どもに乗っ取られてるわ。
Even Beato is nothing more than a piece in their games.
一体
Just
これは
who's
何のつ
behind
もり
this?
で
And
誰
what
の
are they
仕業
after?
なんです。私たちに
What do they
何を
want
見
to
せたい
show
んだ。
us? Before this tale began, Claire definitely appeared on the stage. She is the teller of the tale of Beatrice's game. Beatrice, the me from a world of a different fate. However, didn't she entrust everything to Will, who solved all the riddles? There should be no need for her to make new riddles. In that case, is Burncastle using this tale to test me? Along with Will, I have at least touched the deepest depths of this tale and understood the culprit's heart. So, even if an entirely new tale presents itself, I should be able to see through the riddles. Is that what my role is? Is my role to teach Angie about the truth of this tale?
あなたは知っているんです
Do
か。
you know?
この物語の
Do you know the
真
truth
相
of
を。
this tale?
いくつかの仮説は考えてるわ。
I have several theories.
でも、どの
Still,
説にも最
none
終
of
的
those
な
can give
答
a
えは出せない。
conclusive answer.
真相はい
The
つも
truth
猫
is
箱の
always
中。
inside the cat box.
断定はできない。
I can't say anything for sure. In this world, Angie is absent on this day. So it's only natural that she doesn't know what happened. However, at the very least, I do know who the culprit is and what they are trying to do on this day.
やっと
I think
自分の役目が
I've
分かった気
finally
がします。
understood my role in this.
どういう意味？
What do you mean?
どうやらあなたは
Apparently,
感激者で、
you're here as a theater
私は
goer,
解説者のようです。
and I'm here as a commentator.
何を解説し
Then
て
as
く
a
れるというの？
commentator, what exactly is it you're going to explain for me?
私は
After all,
これから起こる
I
事
know
件
who's
の犯
behind the
人を
crime that's about
知
to
ってい
occur.
るからです。
なんですって？
What did you say? Thinking about it straightforwardly,
何者かが
the
私
only
たちに秘
explanation
軍
I
を
see
解か
is
す
that someone's trying to make
横
us
取りを
solve the
狙ってい
epitaph,
るようにしか思
hoping
え
to
ん
then snatch the gold for themselves.
同感だ
I agree.
先に解いた
If they'd
なら
already solved it,
猫
they
ばば
could
し
just
ちまえ
take
ば
it.
いいだけのわざわざ俺
There'd
ら
be
に
no
解いて
need
み
to
ろなん
challenge
て
us
挑
to
発
solve
す
the
るかって
riddle.
んだ
使用人
It's
の
a
誰
prank
か
by
のい
one
た
of the
ずらだわ。
servants. Is that always the first thought?
あわよく黄金が見
They
つか
must
った
be
ら
hoping to pick up
ご
the
祝
scraps
儀
from
に
the
おこぼれ
celebration
がも
if
らえる
gold
かも
is,
しれない
if the gold is
さ
found.
もしい考えに違う。
当家の使用人の
I
中に
cannot imagine
そん
that
な
any
人
of our
間がいる
servants
とは
would
思
do
えま
such
せ
a
ん。
thing.
あるいは使用人の
Or
ふ
maybe
りを
one of
し
us
て
sent a letter
私たちの中に誰か
pretending to be a
が差し
servant.
出した手紙だったりして。
それを言ったら
That's it.
一番
The
怪し
most
いのはあんた
suspicious
でしょう
one.
が。マリアちゃんに
You
一
schooled
芝居
Maria
打た
Chan on
せ
her
て
part
あ
and
の
made
手
her read
紙
the
を読
letter,
ませたん
didn't
じゃ
you?
ないの？
私はそんな
Wouldn't
こ
do
とし
that.
ないわよ。
予算かエヴ
Give
ァ
that a rest, Eva.
決めつけたら
We
あかん
can't
で
jump to conclusions.
今はみんなで
Isn't
結
this
託
the
して
time for
相
us
談
all
し
to
合う
stick
とけない
together?
か
そうね。
That's right.
あの怪し
The
げ
aim
な
of the
手紙
strange
は
letter is probably to
私たちの
disrupt our
結束を
unity.
乱すのが狙いでしょう。踊らされれ
The
ば
more
踊
we
ら
let
さ
it
れる
affect
ほど
us, the more things will go the way of this Beatrice who sent it.
キリエさんの言う通り
Kiri-san's right.
あのような手
Wouldn't
紙
it be
な
best to simply
初め
ignore
から
a
意に
letter
介
like
さな
that
いく
from
ら
the
いが
start?
ちょうどいいのではないかね
私は最
That
初か
is
ら
what
そ
I've
うだ
been
と言
saying
っ
this
てい
whole
ます
time.
こんなの
This sort
ド
of
ルに
prank
足ら
is
ない
not
い
worth
たずらです
considering. That was
So,
pretty
yeah,
knowledgeable.
全く
Yes,
その通
that's it
りや
exactly.
おかしなクレーム
If
の
a
一
couple
件や
in
二件
probable
で
claims
び
for
くついて
damages
たら
gets deflustered,
商いはやってら
we'll
れん
never be
で
able to sell anything.
主人の言う通りだわ
My husband's right.
こんな子供
This
だ
is a
し
child's prank.
真面目に
And
考え
taking
る
it
だけ
seriously
損
is
だわ
just a waste of time.
本当に遺産
If
騒動
someone
に
really
絡み
wanted
た
to
い
shake
何
up the
者かなら
inheritance issue,
手紙なんて
they'd
遠
come
回しな
forward
ことを
boldly
せず
instead of using
堂々
something
と
this
姿を
roundabout.
現せ
だな。
You've got it right there.
俺たち以外に遺産を要求している人
Someone
間がい
probably
ると
wants us to
思わせ
make
て
wants to make us think
おこぼ
there's
れに
another
預かり
person
たい
trying to
っ
make
てやつが
demands
い
about the
るんだろうぜ。
inheritance, when the real goal is just to pick up the scraps.
遺産問題に口を挟まない代わ
I
りに
wonder if they'll ask for some hush money in exchange for staying out of the inheritance issue.
それを言い出す
If
な
that
ら
was the case,
もう手紙
they
に書
should
いて
have
るは
written
ず
it
だ
into the letter.
手紙の内容
And the
は
letter is just a
碑文を
challenge,
解いてみろ。
telling us to try
さも
solving
な
the
くは
epitaph,
全てをい
or
た
else
だく。
hand over everything.
なる挑戦状。
犯人はわしらに碑
The
文の
culprit is trying to
謎を
make us solve the
解かせたい
epitaph's riddle.
それ以上
Nothing
で
more,
も以下で
nothing
も
less.
ないっちゅうことやな
つまりよ、
So it's simple.
こんな手紙
If we worry about this
気
letter,
にしたら負けってことだぜ。
indeed,
どうかな。
I agree.
まるで推理
After
小
that
説の
big
ようなミステ
mysterious
リアスな
show,
演出だった
like something out of a mystery novel, we've all gotten a bit too wrapped up in this.
我々も
It
余
seems
裕
we're
が
all
ない
taking this
ね。
too seriously.
しかし
But
誰がこんな手紙を腹立たしいことで
such
す
an aggravating thing to do.
使用人じゃな
If
い
it
なら
wasn't a servant,
私
then
た
one
ち
of
の
us
中の
must have
誰か
written
が
it.
書いたんでしょうよ誰とは
I'm
言わ
not
ない
naming
けど
names,
ね
of course.
よしてよ
Stop it.
本当に
I
私は知
really
らな
know
い
nothing about this.
まあまあ
Settle down.
しかし手
Anyway,
紙の言うこ
what
とも
this letter
一理あ
says
る
does
っちゅう
make a
もん
bit
や
of sense.
わしらは
All
誰
of
も
us
金
need
も
money.
それもできた
And
ら
if
今す
possible,
ぐや
we need it right away.
それに異論があ
No
る
one
者
here
は
has any
おらんや
objection
ろ
to that, right?
そりゃそうだ。
Of course not.
金と愛は
Whether it's money or love, you can never have too much.
親父殿の遺産がいつ
We
絡
don't
まり
know
込んでく
when
るか
father's
わからない
inheritance will come to us.
しかし
However, the gold of the epitaph is different.
見つかれば
If
直
we
ちに
find it,
なわけだ。
we just split it then and there. A logical conclusion, in a sense.
お父様の遺
It's
産
even
以上
closer
に
to us now
目の
than
前
the
にある
inheritance
金だ
is.
わ
碑文の謎が解ければの
Assuming
話
we
だけ
can
ど
solve the epitaph.
ここにいる皆さんも
Everyone here has tried solving it
碑
on
文
their
の
own.
謎には
Yeah?
それぞれ挑戦されたんでしょ
Carrier asked the room at large, and everyone wordlessly nodded back.
ここには
Here, we have
出
four
題者
people
である
who
お
have
父様
inherited
の
the
血を
blood
引く
of
人
one
間が4
of
人
the
も
one
い
who
な
made
が
that
ら
riddle,
そ
and
れ
they
ぞ
just
れ
sit,
がバラバ
tried
ラに
solving it
謎
on
に
their
挑
own.
戦してる効率的ではな
That
い
doesn't sound very efficient, does it?
だな。
True.
俺たちは
We've all been
そ
greedy
れ
and
ぞれ
tried
が
to go
欲
it
の皮を
alone.
突っ張らせてしかし
However,
黄金発見時
we've
の
already
分配
reached
等
a
につ
decision
いて
about how we'll split the
もう俺
split
たち
the
の
gold
中
up
で
if it's
決
found.
着がついている。そして
And
兄
about
貴が実
acknowledging
当主である
Anarchy
こ
as
と
the
を認め
successor.
るってのがそれを引き
Well,
換え
you
に
demanded quite a
随
lot
分
in
と吹っかけ
exchange.
てくれたんだね。
I
私
wonder
た
if
ち
we
で
can
協
solve
力し
that
て謎
epitaph
解きをしたら
if we pool our
あの自分も
efforts and
解
work
けるかしら
together.
3人よれば文
Two
殊の
heads
知
are
恵
better than one.
それどころか
And here, we
私
have
たちは7
seven.
人もいるわお父様の遺産問題につい
Today,
て
we reached general
私たち
agreement
は
about the
今日
inheritance
おおむね
problem.
で合意を得ている余興のつも
Why
り
not
で
take a
自
shot at
分
the
に挑ん
epitaph
で
for
み
a
るの
bit?
もいいんじゃな
A
い
bit
か
of
しら
fun on the side.
せやな
Nice idea.
一服のつも
Let's
り
give it
で
a try and call it a break.
ちょいとやってみるのも
バカバカしい
Ridiculous.
隠し黄金など
Of course, there's no hidden gold.
まあな、
Take it easy.
余興だと思ってよ
Just。think of it as a game.
ゴーダさんに
Let's have
冷たい
Goda-san
もんで
bring
も
us
持って
something
きても
cool
らお
to
うぜ
drink.
一服しなが
We
ら
can take a
たま
break
に
and
は
I'll
兄
play
弟
with
水入
riddles
ら
as
ず
a
で
big, happy bunch
謎
of
解きごっ
siblings for
こを
once.
してみようじゃねえか。
Hmm.
どうせ夜は長い。
The night is long.
親父殿の寿命
We'll
に
at
つい
least
て
be more
くだらない
productive
詮
than
索を
pointless
するより
inquiries into father's
よっ
health.
ぽど建設的だと。
ゴーダさんに電話するわ
I'll ring up Goda-san.
何か持ってき
He
て
can
もらい
bring
ま
us
しょうよ
something.
お茶とお菓
Let's
子
have
と
tea and sweets.
あと
Oh,
台
and a
湾
map
の
of
地図でも持
Taiwan.
ってこさせる
する
Two shadows could be seen in the rose garden arbor. It was George and Shannon's secret meeting.
この指輪を
I want you to take this ring. George-sama,
君を生涯
I swear to love you all my life,
若い今だ
not
けじゃ
just
ない
now while you're young.
おいて
I swear to
お墓
love
に
you
入るまでの
and
全
keep
て
you
を愛
happy
し
until we get old.
君を幸
and
せ
go
にす
to
る
our
ことを
grave.
誓うよ
その言葉に
And are there any lies
嘘
or
偽りはあり
exaggerations
ま
in
せ
your
んか
words?
あ
No,
ないね
not one.
僕には
I'm confident in
君を
my
愛し
resolve to love you
幸せな家
and build
庭
a
を作
happy
る
household together with
絶対
you.
の覚悟と自信がある
その
And what would this
幸
happy
せな
household
家
be
庭と
like?
はど
Well,
それは
it'll be
と
full
て
of
も幸
happiness.
せな家庭だよ車と庭
We'll
付き
have
の
a
家
house with a car and a yard
そして
and
飼
one
い犬が
dog.
1匹庭には
The
家
yard will
庭
have a
菜園
vegetable garden.
子供たちが駆
The
け回る
kids will run around,
僕たちは
and we'll smile down on
バルコニー
them
か
from the
ら微
balcony.
笑ましそうに見下ろすそれが
And that's what our
僕
typical
たちの
future
未来
Sunday
の
will
日
look
曜
like.
日の
それは
That
素敵な
would
光
be
景ですね
wonderful. Oh.
ええ
What?
あの二人
Those
付き
two
合
are
ってるの
going
かよ
声が
Why are you
大き
so
いって
damn loud?
マリアが
Hurry,
起きちゃう
you'll
だろ
wake up. Anyway,
あそうか
welcome, my name. I see.
そうだったか
So that's how it is.
言われてみれば
Now that you mention
な
it,
んとなく
they seem to have a pretty good mood going on
いい
there.
雰囲気だったしなそうだよな
That's right. We're about the age where you fall in love.
恋をする年頃だもんな
この6年で
We've changed a lot
私
in
た
the
ちは
last
随
6
分
years.
変わったぜジョージ兄さんも
George Nissan used to be
昔
a
は
bit
頼りない
unreliable,
感じだったけど
but he isn't anymore.
それは思った
That's
ぜ
what I thought.
ジョージの兄貴
George Aniki's got that
随
air
分
of
と貫禄が
dignity
出て
thing
たもん
going.
な
But still, Shannon John and George Aniki. That's a bit unexpected. They played together often enough 6 years ago, but I didn't think they were that close. Well,
なるほどな
6 years is a long time.
6年だもんな
この6年は
And 6 years have been huge for all of us.
だな
Yep.
俺もこの6
A
年
lot's happened to me these 6
いろい
years.
ろあって
And to be honest,
正直六軒
I've
島のこと
forgotten
はほ
almost
とんど
everything
忘
about
れてた
Rakujima.
ま
And I've
あ
forgotten
私も
almost
バト
everything
ラーの
about
こ
you
と
too.
ほとんど忘れかけてたけどな
そりゃ
Now
ひでえ
that really
ぜ
hurts. Talking together like this, it felt as though we'd been teleported 6 years into the past. 6 long years, so long that I forgot almost everything. And yet, it's coming back to me, bit by bit. Shannon-chan. 6 years ago, you were part of our group, and we played together a lot, didn't we? Back then, I think I might have liked Shannon-chan. That was the age when we were all overly self-conscious, and love was love. Bittersweet memories of jokes involving melodramatic, flippant words.
懐かしいぜ
That takes me back.
今だったらと
I
ても
think
言
I
えねえ
remember
よう
saying
な
all
恥ずか
kinds
し
of
いこ
stuff
と
that
を
I'd be way
い
too
っ
embarrassed
ぱ
to
い
say
言っちま
now.
ったような
Just remembering is
思
making
い出
my
しただ
face
けで
go
赤
red.
面しちまうぜ
シャノンはそ
Shannon
そっか
might
しい
be a
けど記憶
scatterbrain,
力はいい
but
か
her
ら
memory is
な
incredible.
後でこっそ
Guess I'll
り
just have to ask her
昔
all
のバ
about
トラ
your
ーの
dark,
恥ずかしい
embarrassing
黒歴史を
history.
聞いちゃおうっと
いやよせやい
Quit it.
6年経って
That
る
was
ぜ
6 years ago. The
さすがに
statute of
そうだろ
limitations has got to be up. That's 7 years. I see. So, Shannon-chan is going out with George Aniki. What am I thinking? Could this be jealousy? I didn't really think about it until now, but that thing Shannon-chan and I had back then was probably my first love. Well, it's not like I have any right to be jealous, after forgetting the whole thing until we met again. Battler. Causing problems by being new.
親父の故郷が台湾大正町であることは誰もが知る事実だ
Everyone knows that Dad's hometown was Taishu in Taiwan. No. It's never said until last episode. But yeah. Anyway, I now have an actual moment to respond to your comment. But Katie and Makoto's sisters, only playable female main characters in the series. Alright, that means we won't be doing another transfer in Danganronpa 3. Unless we like resurrect Rantaro and switch to him when Shuichi dies or something. I don't know. But interesting. I wonder if we can change anything though. There's a lot of customizable options in Danganronpa. But we'll see when we get there.
親父殿は今も時折台湾を懐かしんで林道を噛んでいるよ。
He still chews Eureka nuts from time to time in memory of that place.
若い日に
Apparently, he got hooked on that instead of smoking when he was young.
でも
But
鮎が泳
there
ぐ
must be
川な
several
んて
rivers
いく
there
らで
with
もあった
sweet
と
fish
思うわ
swimming in them.
鮎釣り
It
の
has
有名
several
な
mountain
渓流
streams
など
that
い
are
くらで
famous
もあ
sweet
る
fish fishing spots.
鮎なんて水さえきれいならどこにだって
Anyway,
住んで
you
た
could
で
probably
しょう
find
よ
sweet fish living anywhere the water is clean.
お手上げだ
Not
わ
completely stuck.
お父さんが
Maybe it
子
was just
供の
some
頃に
nearby
遊
creek
ん
that
だ
father played in as a
近所
kid.
の小川かなんかとちゃう鮎っちゅうとるが
He said
案
sweet
外
fish,
船程度の
but
ことか
maybe
も
we're
しれ
looking
ん
for
で
something more like carp.
あるいは
Or it could
何
be
か
some
の
sort
比喩
of
かもしれ
metaphor.
ないわ川が
The river
水
isn't
の流れる
necessarily a
川
river
と
with
限ら
water
ないと
flowing through it.
水の流れない
What do you
川
mean
と
by that?
さあね
Well, no.
何のことや
Who knows?
キリエが言うのも一
Kiri
理
has a point there.
故郷を台湾と
Isn't
決
it
め
a
つけ
bit
る
too
のは
early to be sure that
愛
Taiwan
の川が
is this
水の
homeland?
流れる川と
But
決
that
め
the
つける
Sweetfish River is a river
何
with
も
water
かも
flowing
早
down it?
計ってわけか。
そう言
You
わ
look
れ
at it
ちゃ
that way,
お手
we're
上
just
げ
stuck
やで
again.
こら考えれ
The
ば
more you
考
think
え
about
る
this
ほどに
riddle,
難
the
解
harder
な
it gets.
謎謎や
そうよ
That's it.
これはきっ
This is just
と
a
謎
riddle.
謎なのよキリエさんの言う通り
Kiri-san is right.
頭を柔
We
ら
need to be
かくして考
flexible in our
えるべ
thinking.
きなのよ
大正中に
If we're
近い
looking for
川
a
って
river
いう
near
と
Taisho,
淡水
that
が
would have
欲
to
しい
be Danshui River.
あんた
Are you even
話聞い
listening?
てるの水の流
I
れる
just
川
said
と
that
は
it
限
might
ら
not be
ない
the
って
kind of
話
river
を
with
してん
water
でしょう
flowing
が
down it.
その川が
Is
鮎
there
の
any
川だっ
proof
て
that
保
this
証
river
は
is a
あるの
Sweetfish River?
そうよ
You're,
ね
you're right.
ごめ
I'm
んなさ
sorry.
い
まあ多分鮎も泳いでたろうぜ。
Taiwan's in Japan? I thought Taiwan was its own country. Alright. I'm gonna have to go look that up now. Well, it probably did have sweet fish in it.
何しろ淡
After all,
水の川だった
Danshui does mean fresh water.
淡水魚の鮎が泳い
Makes
でても
sense that a
不
freshwater
思議はねえ
fish
だろ
like
うぜ。
sweet fish would be swimming in it.
鮎は淡水
Sweet fish are freshwater fish,
鮎の川
so
で
a sweet fish river would be a freshwater river. Is that how we get Danshui River? Quite the word game.
面白い説じ
Oh,
ゃない
that's an interesting theory.
もう少し推理を
Let's
進め
advance
て
your
みましょ
reasoning a bit further.
う川を下れば
As you
里
travel
あ
down the
り
river, you will see a village.
淡水河の河口には
What's the
何
name
の
of
町
the
がある
town at the mouth of Danshui River?
淡水と
It
書い
says
てあります
Danshui here.
淡水は観光で行ったわ
I went sightseeing in Danshui.
落ち着いた港
It was
町
a calm and gentle harbor town.
夕焼けが綺麗だったわ
Beautiful sunsets.
その里にて
Did you find
二人
the
が口
shore
に
the
した
two will tell you
岸
of?
ってのはあったか。
さあね
Not really.
心当たりなんて
It
ない
doesn't ring any bells.
やっぱり懐かしき
I
故郷
guess
と
the
いうのは
beloved hometown
台湾の
wasn't
こと
in
じゃないのよ
Taiwan.
やっぱり小田原なのか
Might
も
have
しれない
been
わ
Odawara after all.
すべての可能性を否定するべきではないとする
That
と、
would be why. Okay.
やはりこれはお手上げだね。
If we can't discount any possibilities, then we won't get anywhere.
私たちには
We can't even get past
自
the
分
first
の
line
一
of
行
the
目から
epitaph.
すら話がまともに進みよ。
静かにして
Quiet,
気が
you're
散る
distracting me.
絶対に台
It
湾よ
has to be Taiwan.
お父様
Father wouldn't
台
describe
湾以
any
外
other
を
place
懐かしい
as
と形容
beloved.
するわけがない
それについてだけ
That
は
is one thing we can
私も
agree
同感
upon.
ですお父様に
To
とっ
this very
て
day,
今でも
Taiwan is the
台
hometown
湾
of Father's
心
heart.
のふるさとなのですから
1行目ばかりに固
It's
執す
probably
るのは
best
良
if
く
we
ない
don't
わ
spend too
ね。
much time on the first line.
私は他の行につ
I'm
い
gonna
て
take a
検討
look
し
at
て
the
みるわ。
others.
第一の番
Just
か
a
らを
quick
ちょっ
peek,
と見て
starting
み
at
る
the
ことに
first
する。
twilight.
俺もそうするぜ。
Me too.
愛の川
I'll
は
leave
姉
the
貴に
Sweetfish
任せ
River to
て、
you, Aniki,
その先を
and
検
have a
討して
go
み
at
よ
the second half.
第一の
On
番
the first
に
twilight, offer
鍵
the
の
six
選び
chosen
し
by the
6
key
人を
as
生贄に
sacrifices.
捧げよ。ミス
How
テリアスね。
mysterious. I've got
わ
it,
かった。
Eva suddenly muttered. All the others spun around to look at her. Eva was flipping through the pages about Taiwan with incredible force, then found the page she was looking for and slammed the book open so hard that it almost tore. This whole time, the book had been open to the page with place names. As far as the overall mass of information went, this seemed the most useful page to start from. However, the page Eva opened to was very limited in the scope of its information. It was a map of railway lines.
川を下
As you
れ。
travel down the river,
さ
there's a village. A village.
里だわ。
There it is. The village.
何の
What are you
話だ
talking
ね
about,
エヴァ
Eva?
説明したまえ。
Explain yourself.
静かにして
Quiet.
岸もある。
There's a
口
shore
もあ
too.
る。
And a mouse.
二人が口にする
Not
とい
sure
うのは
what
わ
it
か
means
らな
by
いけ
the
ど。
two,
でも
but there definitely is a village and a
岸も
shore and a
口も
mouse.
ある。ここよ。
This has to be it.
絶対にこれが
This is
黄
definitely
金
the
の
village
鍵
with
の
the
眠
key
る
to the gold
里よ。
sleeps.
落ち着くんや。
Calm down.
どういうことか。
Explain it
わしら
so
に
we
も
can
分かるよう
understand
に
too.
説明してや。
淡水線。
The Don Shui line?
なるほど。
I see.
鮎の川とい
So
う
the
のは
Sweetfish River
淡
was
水
actually
線
a
という名
railroad
の
called the
鉄
Don
道
Shui
のこと
line?
だと。
あ、
鮎
Oh,
は
I doubt there are any
泳いでいない
sweetfish
と思い
swimming
ます
there.
が。見て、
Look,
淡水線を
We
下
follow
り
the
方
Don
向
Shui
に
line
進ん
down.
でいくと、
the station that
旧
used to be
名
known
が
as
キリガン
Kirigan.
って駅が。ほら、
Look at the
漢
characters
字を
it's
よく
written
見
in.
て。里がある、
There's
口
a
がある、
village,
岸が
a
ある。
mouth, and a shore.
ほんまや。
She's right.
里がある。
There's a village, mouth, and shore.
川を下れば、やが
As
て
you
里
travel
が
down the river, you will see a village.
確かに
True, that's the only station on the Don Shui line that has the character for village in its
その
name.
駅だけだな。なるほ
I
ど。
see. It's like a code
その
pointing
駅名
toward
を
the
暗示
station's
しているよう
name.
にも見えるね。
絶対に
This
これ
has to
よ、
be
間違
it.
いない
There's no
わ。
doubt.
調べればいい
We
のよ。
just need to look a bit
二人
further.
が口に
We'll
し
definitely
の
find
意
out
味
what
も
the
き
two
っとわ
who
かる。
speak means. Look,
これこれ。
this is it. This is it.
地名のキリ
The
ガンの
region
リは
around the station has the
口
same
辺
name,
に里だわ。
except with a mouth in the second character.
ということは、
That makes a total
Kirigan
of
は
two
口
mouths
辺が
in
二つ。
Kirigan.
すなわち
Are these
二
the
人
two
が
who
口
speak?
にし。
Incredible,
すごいわ
Mom-san.
姉さん。これよ。
This has
間
to be
違
it.
いなくこれだわ。
このキリガン
Does
とい
this
う
mean
町のど
that
こ
the
か
key is
に
hidden somewhere in this
鍵が
town
隠
of
されている
Kirigan?
ということでしょうか。
どうかしら。
I wonder.
ここまでの
The
謎は
whole
言
riddle
葉
so far has
遊
been a
び。
word game.
だとしたら、
If so,
眠る
isn't it
鍵もま
likely
た
that the sleeping key
言
is
葉遊び
also
の
a
可能
word
性
game?
が高いんじゃないかしら。同感だわ。
I agree.
第一の
On
番
the first twilight,
鍵は
the key
6人
selects
の
six
生贄を選
sacrifices,
ぶのよ
right?。so it's hard to imagine that it's actually something key-shaped.
う
Ooh,
面白く
this is getting
なってき
damn
やがった
interesting.
鍵の選びし
Offer up the
6
six
人を
chosen
生
by the
贄
key.
に捧げよう。これから連想できる鍵を
Let's
考
think of a
える
key
の。
that's somehow related to this.
そしてそれで
And let's
キリガ
break
ン
down
という
this
地
name,
名を噛み
Kirigan.
砕くのよ。私にはわか
I'm
るわ。
absolutely sure
こ
that
れ
this
は
is
き
a
っと
word
言
game.
葉遊び。絶対に言
It
葉
has to
遊び
be.
よ。考えて、みん
Think,
な。
everyone. He's going crazy again. Watch out, everyone.
面白いものだね。
That's interesting.
一人なら
Though
日の
this
見え
rain
るよ
would
う
get me
な
down
雨
if I were alone.
君と一緒な
It
ら
feels nice and cool
涼
when
し
you're
く
by my
て
side.
気持ちがよく感じるよ。
It's about
そろ
time
そ
for
ろ
us to
戻
head
りま
back.
しょう。カノン君を
I'm
待たせて
keeping
ますので。
Ken-kun waiting.
そうだね。
You're right.
僕も
And I've
ジェ
probably
シカ
kept
ちゃんやバトル
Jessica-chan
君
and
たち
Bala
を
Kun waiting.
だいぶ待たせちゃってるかな。
懐かしい
It
ですね。
brings back good memories.
お嬢様にジョ
Remember
ージ
when
様
the、four of us used to
バト
play
ラ様
together?
に私で、あの頃も
It was a lot of
楽し
fun
かった
back
です
then
ね。
too.
僕は今の方が楽しいよ
It's。a lot more fun now
君を独り占めでき
because
る
I
から
get
ね。
you all to myself.
ジョージ様ったら
Oh, George-sama. They laughed at George's melodramatic line. However, George's laugh seemed just slightly forced.
ジョージ様
George-sama?
ああ、
Oh.
ごめん。
I'm sorry.
僕はね、
Well,
いまだに
I guess I still have a bit of an inferiority complex when it comes to Battler-kun.
コンプレックス
An
ですか
inferiority complex?
彼はルドルフお
Like
じさん
Uncle
に似
Rudolph,
て
he's
快活
lively,
だし、面
interesting,
白いし、
and just full of
何より
energy.
も僕なんかより
He's much more
よっぽ
attractive
ど魅
than
力
I
的
am.
だ。彼と僕が並ぶ
I can
と
tell how much he outshines me when we're
自分がかすむのが
together.
よくわかるんだ。
そんなことはあり
That's
ま
not
せん
true.
ジョージ様は
You're very
立派で
accomplished
すし
and
魅
attractive.
力バトラ様に
You aren't
何も
worse than
劣るところな
Battler-sama
どあ
in
り
any
ませ
way.
ん
Technically, that's not a very high
本当に
bar. Really?
ええ
Yes?
本当にです
Really?
実はね、
The truth is,
今年バ
when
ト
I
ラ君が
first
戻っ
heard
てく
that
ると聞い
Battler-kun
て、
would be coming back this year,
僕は最初
I wasn't happy
嫌な
about
気
it.
持ちだったんだよ。
どうしてですか
Why not?
6年前、
6 years ago,
君と本当に仲が良かったの
Battler-kun
は
was the one who was really close to you.
僕は
I wanted to get
君とも
closer
っと
to you,
仲良くなりたいと思っ
but
ていた
I
けれ
just
ど、
couldn't manage to get between the two of
全
you.
く間に割り込むことなく指を加えて
You
見て
two
いる
just
ほか
looked
ない
so
くら
good
い
together that
お似合
I
いの
could
二
do
人に
nothing
見
but
えて、
watch on longingly.
そうだったでしょうか
Is that how it was?
お似合いの二人ど
Wasn't
こ
it
ろ
just
か
Battler-sama making
私
fun
が
of me
一方的に
one-sidedly?
バトラ様にからかわれてただけで
最高にお似合いの二人だったよ。
Of course, you looked incredibly good together.
間違いなくね。
There's no doubt about that.
君たちは付き
I
合っ
was
ている
sure
に違いな
that
い
you
と
two
信
were
じて
going
た。
out.
そんなことはありません
That
でした
never
よ
happened.
ジョージ様の考
You're
えすぎで
overthinking
す
it.
僕は本当にみっともないね。
I really am pathetic.
今日
I was
君に
afraid
指
that
輪
when
を
I
渡
handed
す
you
と
this
き
ring today,
断られるかもしれないと怯えた。
どうしてですか
well, why is that?
私が
Why should I
George-san
refuse your
の
ring,
指輪を
George-san?
どうして
バトラ君が帰ってきたからさ。
Battler-kun came back.
君は本当
I
は
was afraid that you might like
今でもバト
Battler-kun,
ラ君のことが好
even
きで
now,
彼が帰ってきた
and
よ。
that now that he's here,
僕は用済
you
みなん
wouldn't
じゃ
have
ない
any
かなっ
use for
て
me.
怯えたんだ。
ジョージさん
George-san,
これをご覧ください
look at this.
私の薬
You
指
see
に
this
輝
silver
く
glint on my ring
この
finger?
銀色の輝きですこれは何です
What do you
か
think that is?
そうだよね。
You're right.
ごめん。
Sorry.
僕は
What's got me
何
so
を動
shaken, I
揺してい
wonder.
るんだろうね。6年ぶりの再会で
Probably so jealous of him
さらにかっこ
now
よく
that
なっ
he's
た
gotten
彼
even cooler these past 6
ま
years.
た嫉妬していたんだろう。情けないよ。
How pathetic.
うんうん
No,
いいんで
it's
す
okay.
その気持ちは
Those
すな
feelings
わ
are a
ち
sign that your love for me is
私
so
を誰
strong.
にも渡したくない
You
とい
don't
う
want to give me up
ジ
to
ョージさ
anyone.
んのもし
And if you're worried about my feelings switching to
バトラ
Battler-sama,
様に移るのではそんなことを
Just
絶
love
対
me
に
all the
思わせないくらい
so
に
that such a thing would be
強く
unthinkable.
愛してください私が
Love me so
あ
much
なた以外の
that I don't
男性
have
の
time
こと
to
を
think
考
about
え
other
る暇
men.
なんかないくらいに私だって怖いんです
I'm scared too.
私より魅力的な
I'll
女性
surely
なん
meet
て
many women in the future,
これからも
who are much
いく
more
らでも
attractive
現
than
れる
me.
でしょうあるいは
Or you might tire of me when I don't match up to your
愛想を
expectations.
尽かすこともあるかもしれない生涯
It scares me to think that I might not be able to grasp hold of your feelings
私だけにつなぎ
for
止
the
めて
rest
い
of
ら
my
れる
life.
か怖いんです
それを君が怯え
There's
る
no
必
need
要は
for
な
you
い
to
よ
be。scared of that.
僕は君を
I
生
swear
涯
to love you all my
愛し抜
life.
くことを誓う。
私もそれを誓
But
っ
even
た
though
の
I
に
swore the same thing,
バトラ様が帰っ
you're
て
having
きたら
trouble believing it
信じて
just
くれな
because
くなりました
Battler-sama
ね
came back. As Shannon giggled, George finally realized that his own lack of confidence had hurt her.
私は
I've
後ろ宮
fallen
ジ
for
ョ
a
ージさん
wonderful
という
man named
素敵な
Ushimi
方
and
を射止め
George-san,
ましたそして生
and
涯
this is a man who has
私を愛す
sworn
る
to
と
love
誓
me
わ
all
せ
his life,
それを
and
誓
who
う
has given
指
me a
輪を
ring as a
こう
sign
し
of
て
this
送ら
oath.
せましたその指輪を
With this ring
こうして
here on my ring finger,
薬指に
I
通し
can
た
give
上
an
で
honest confession.
しょ
Sure.
私は
Yes,
確か
As
に
you
おっ
said,
しゃる通り6年
I
前
did like Battler-sama
バ
6
トラ
years
様
ago.
のことが多分
I think I probably liked him more than you.
好きだったと思いでも
However,
それは6
that
年前
was
の
6 years
話です
ago.
今の話ではありません。
Things are different.
バトラ様のその
In
気
these
持
6
ちは
years,
この
I've
6
sorted
年
out my
間で
feelings
整
for
理され
Butler-sama
思い
and
出と
cut
一緒に
myself off
過去
from
へ
them along with
決
the
裂
memories
した
of
の
the
です。
past.
今の私は
Now, I exist only
あ
to
な
love
た
you.
を愛するためだけに存在します。
Shannon spoke clearly and strongly. George gave a single, certain laugh. It was probably the same sort of laugh that George of 6 years ago had made. Then, he stretched resolutely and hugged Shannon without saying a word. In that moment, he said goodbye to the person he had been 6 years ago. Umineko no Naku Koru Nichiru, Nocturne of Truths and Illusions. That seems like a bad omen. I've got the ladder. Yeah. Poor George. Poor everybody. Here we go.
クワドリリオン
Quadrillion.
この島で船長と刻まれているの
What
はあ
kind
れ
of
だけ
riddle uses the word quadrillion in a word game without using the word quadrillion? That riddle's bullshit, man. But regardless, it is what it is. Quadrillion. This is the only place you'll find that number written on this island.
K の10分の1で
1/10 of
船
10
長
quadrillion.
眉唾だわ
How suspicious.
私たちの想
If
像
our
が
idea
正
is
しけ
right,
れ
there should be some sort of
ばあ
device
のレリー
embedded
フ
in
の
that
仕
relief.
掛けなんだわ
確かめればわ
We
かる
just need to
話だ
check.
誰が上がる
Who's going up?
俺が上がろう
I'll go.
抑えててくれ
Hold that ladder down, okay?
気をつけて
Be careful.
結構高いですよ
It's fairly high up. Ladders don't really get spooky unless you're on a rickety one a lot higher up. Rudolph climbed up the propped up ladder, step by step as the rain poured down on him.
Q の文字を見てみて
Look at the Q.
どう
See anything?
何か仕掛けがあ
Some
りそ
sort of
う
device?
ちょいとガタつくな
Ladder's a bit shaky.
やべ
Oh boy.
どうしたの
What is it?
何があったの
Something happened?
ビンゴみてえだぜ
Bingo.
見ろよこいつ
Take a
を
look at this. Rudolph tossed the Q down. It hit Kraus on the shoulder and landed in a puddle.
これ
This is
鍵
the
だ
key.
どういうこ
What
っち
does
ゃ
it mean?
ルドルフ君
Rudolph君.
これまさか
Don't tell me you can
他
take
の
out
文
the
字
other
も抜
letters
ける
too.
んか
ああ
Yeah,
そうみ
looks
てえだ
like it.
どうやら俺たちの
Yes,
と
our
んでも
crazy
スリ
theories
ーは
weren't far off
外
after
れ
all.
ていなかったらしい次に抜く文字は何だ
What's the next letter to take out?
愛です
I,
それから
and then L. Following her instructions, Rudolph moved the 6 letters of the first twilight. Now that they'd gotten this far, nothing stood in the way of them solving the riddle. By trial and error, they finally reached the final stage. Lord,
頭からえぐれという
it
の
says the gouge
左
starting
から
from the
順
head
にという意味に違い
must mean
ない
going from left to right.
ルドルフさん
Rudolph-san,
左から順
starting
に
from the left, turn the
鍵を
keys
回
before
してか
taking
ら
them
抜
out.
くの
おうよ
Got it.
これで全文字皆
Got
殺
it.
しだな
Now, we've massacred all the
第
letters.
9の番に
We reached the ninth twilight,
誰も生き
and
残れ
none
ない
are
って
left
わけだ
alive.
どう
So,
何か起こっ
did
た
something happen?
何かの手応えはあ
It
った
felt
が
like something
変
clicked,
化なしだ
but nothing changed.
どっかで隠し扉
Did
で
a
も開
hidden
いたの
door
か
open
な
up somewhere?
おおい
Hey, hey,
あれを見てみ
look at that!
動いたで
It moved. I'm sure
確
it
かに
did.
動いた
みんな見て
Everyone, look!
ライオンの
The
像の
line
向きが
statue
変わっ
facing
て
the
る
other
わ
way.
どういうこ
What
とで
is
しょう。
going on?
ライオンの像に
Is there some
何
secret
か秘
inside
密
the
が。
lion statue?
違う。
That's not it.
これはおそらく
It's probably telling us
ラ
to
イオ
look
ンの
where the
向いた
lion's
方向を
pointing.
見よという見たまえ。
See?
あのライオンの見る
What's that
先
way?
を。
あそこのライオンの向きも変わっ
That
てる。
lion's facing a different way too.
どういうこと？
What does it mean?
バカね。あれは誘導してるのよ。ライオンの向く
We
方
have
へ
to
行
go in the
けとい
direction
う意
of the
味だ。
lion's face. Eva dashed forward. The others all chased after her. The gold was right in front of them. Now, this is a surprise.
こんな秘密の
Who
階
would have
段があ
thought
った
that a
と
hidden stairway like this existed?
納得だわ。
It makes sense
お
now.
父様が誰も
Father didn't
礼
like
拝
people
堂に
going
近
near
づ
the
けたが
chapel.
らないはずよ。
この仕掛けは一
I
体
wonder
い
how
つからあ
long
っ
the
たのか
device
し
has
ら。
been there.
地下道の感じから
Judging
し
by
て
the feel of this
相
underground
当の
passage,
昔からだわ。
probably for quite a long time.
おそらくお屋敷を
I
作った
imagine it was
時とほ
built
ぼ
at near
同
the
時でし
same
ょう。
time as the mansion itself.
多分
The
碑文の
riddle of the
謎も
epitaph was probably
何十
also
年も前
planned
から
many
用意され
decades
ていたの
ago.
よ。
まああの
Well,
親父だから
this is Dad we're talking about.
大抵のことに
I
は驚
try
か
not
ね
to
え
let
つ
the
もりだっ
things
た
he
が
does surprise me. But this,
一体この階段
just how far does this stairway go?
こらあの
Hey,
噂は本
maybe
当
that
か
old
もしれ
rumor
ん
was
で。
true.
ほら
You know,
森
the
の
story
中の
about
ど
him
こか
having a
に
mistress in a
愛
hidden
人を囲
mansion
ってる
somewhere in the
隠し
forest.
屋敷がある。
なるほど。
I
こ
see.
の地下通路が
It's likely
そ
that
こ
this
まで
underground
続いている
passage
可
goes
能
all
性
the
は
way there.
高いな。
あの日の
I
あの
wonder
お
if
屋
it
敷
connects
に
to the
もつな
mansion
がって
from
る
that
のか
day.
しら。
どうやらゴー
I
ルみ
think
た
we
い。
found the gold.
武骨な扉があ
Look
る
at
わ
that。filthy door.
何か書いてある。
Something's written on it.
お
Oh,
こりゃビンゴだ
bingo.
な。
Something was written on the door in red paint. On the 10th twilight, at journey's end, he shall attain to the power of the Golden Land's treasures, once and for the last time.
開く
Does it open?
開くわ。
It does.
いい
Ready?
開けるわよ。
I'm going to open it.
いよいよ
So,
黄金と
they
ご対面
finally
か。
reached the gold.
そんなう
We
まい
can only hope
話。
that such a sweet deal is really
ぜ
true.
ひ会ってくれと祈る。
姉さん、
Let's open it,
Akimashou.
Nason. Right,
開けるわよ。
I'm opening it. What a lovely bonding experience, right? The heavy door opened slowly. Then the gold-filled underground VIP room showed itself. They only had an instant to admire its splendid furnishings. As soon as the mountain of gold next to the canopy bed came into sight, they all froze, stunned. After a second, the stunned silence faded, and was replaced by cries of astonishment and wild joy.
Incredible.
I can't believe it. It's 20 billion yen in gold. It really does exist.
なんてまば
What a
ゆいよ。
shining fountain.
目が潰れそうだ。
Almost blinds the eyes.
やったね
We did it!
や
We
った
did it!
ねこのゲー
We
ムは
win this
わ
game.
しらの勝ちや。
緑に触ってはなりません。
You mustn't touch it without permission.
お父様の黄金
It's
で
his
すよ。
father's gold.
あらそ
Oh,
う。
really?
じゃあお父
Then
様
why
を
don't you
今
call
すぐ
father
呼んで
down
きて
here
ちょう
now?
だい。今すぐこ
Right
こ
away.
へ。茶番はとっく
The
に終わ
time
っ
for
て
your
んの
farce is
よ。
over and done with.
夏日姉さんよ。
Natsuhine-san,
もうここ
Let's
から
put
は
an
白
end to
々
the
し
obvious
い話は抜きにし
lies,
ようぜ。ここにあるのは
we have a real mountain of gold
本物の
right
黄
here.
金の俺たちも
Shouldn't we all be honest
本
with
音で
each other?
語り合うべきだぜ。
幸いにも私た
Fortunately,
ちは
we're all in a
今
good mood
と
and
ても
feeling
上
very
機嫌で
gracious
寛
now.
大おとなしく引っ
Just
込ん
give
で
it
な
up
さい。
already. The pile of gold is massive, carries magical power within it. That power draws out the most honest feelings within people. The light from the chandelier glinted off the golden mountain, lighting them up with its golden sparkle. It was as though the sparkle controlled everyone present. For some time, they forgot their age, and howled and laughed, running about and rolling around like a bunch of excited kindergartners at a park. Fair enough. Mountain of gold, man. It's mountain gold.
何これ
What is all this?
どういうこと
What's it supposed to mean?
事件が起こる前に
Before the crimes,
碑文が
the epitaph has been
そ
solved,
れも
and
親
by all
族
the
兄弟
siblings
全員によって
together.
解かれてしまうなんて。
今までになかった展開
That
ね
hasn't happened in any of the games before now.
ベアトリーチェは碑文
Supposedly,
の謎を解いたら
Beatrice decided not to commit the
事件を起こさ
crime
ない
if
と
the
決めてい
epitaph
た
was
はず。
solved.
そういうことにはなってるけどね
Yeah, supposedly.
どうだか
We'll see about that. And she snorted. But I believed. This is what Claire decided. Because she entrusted everything to the roulette of fate, she'll obey the result. She left the roulette decide her own fate specifically because they couldn't decide on their own. So she'll do what it says. She'll follow her own rule. She'll definitely keep her promise.
起こらないはずです。
I don't think
事件は
the crime will occur.
断言できるの
Are you sure about that?
はい。
Yes.
もう
Her
彼女
roulette
の
has
ルーレ
already
ット
made
決ま
its
ったのです。
decision.
これで
This is
彼女
the
の
end
ゲー
of
ム
her
は終
game.
了です。
終了なら
If it's
どう
the
なる
end,
っての
what happens next?
めでたくみんなで
Will we
大
all
金
become
持ちになって
happy rich people and
無
leave
事
the
に
family
親族会
conference
議をおしま
unharmed?
い私の家族
Does
は
my family get an
中身が
ingot
チョコ
that
レート
isn't
じゃない
chocolate
イン
as
ゴ
a
ットをお
parting
土
gift
産
before
に
coming back to me?
私のところへ帰ってきてくれこれで全てがハッ
Will
ピ
it
ー
be
エ
a
ンドだと
happy end for everyone?
あの魔女どもが
You think those witches
そん
would
な甘
chain
い
us to
夢を
chairs to show us
鎖
a
につ
naive
なぎなが
dream
ら見
like
せてく
that?
れるわけ
When she showed off the chain on her wrist with a clank, I was unable to counter her with confidence. But I want to believe. Though this might be the least exciting ending, Claire's game has now reached an end. Perhaps just once at the end, she wanted to show us a world where no crime occurs. Now that she has disappeared with no regrets, is she leaving us a parting gift in the form of a game where no crime takes place? In a sense, the most peaceful sort of game? I want to believe. If only these heavy cold chains weren't holding us in place in this theater. Hmm.
誰かいるの
Is someone there? Rosa's shrill cry brought the celebrating to an immediate stop. Rosa knew she'd seen it. The curtain against the wall had fluttered, and a shadow had been there behind it.
よせやい
Come on, don't do that.
気のせいだろ
You're just imagining things.
誰かいるの
Is someone there?
いるなら出てらっ
If
し
you
ゃ
are,
い
come out. When Eva yelled, the curtain shook. And then, a witch wearing a black dress appeared from the other side. In an instant, everyone realized that the dress was the same as the one worn by the witch of the portrait. And they realized one more thing. This person was the owner of this room.
ようこそ
Welcome to the room of the gold. Her face and her voice were expressionless, blank. The others all looked at each other, wondering who should respond. Rudolph was the first to speak.
つまり
So,
あんた
You
が
were
ベアトリ
Beatrice.
ーチェってわけか
いかにも
indeed.
マ
And
リ
you're
ー
the
に
one
手
who
紙
gave
を
Maria
渡した
that
のは
letter?
あなたなの
いかにも
Indeed.
これは
His father
親父
behind
殿
us?
の差し金なのかね。
いいえ
No.
これは私
This
の
is my
ゲームです
game.
なら
If that's
その
so,
ゲームは
then
私
we've
たちの
won.
こうして非
We've
分の
solved the
謎を解
epitaph
い
riddle and found the gold.
黄金を見つけ
あんたの挑
We've
戦に
accepted your
う
challenge
ちらが
and won.
過去の黄金
That means this gold
わ
belongs
し
to
らの
us,
もんちゅう
right?
ことで間違いないやろな。
いかにもその
Indeed,
通りです。
it is as you say.
皆さんは非分の謎を解
You
き
have solved the epitaph
見事に
splendidly
こうして
and
隠
discovered
され
the
た黄
hidden
金を
gold.
発見しこのゲームは皆
This
さんの
game
勝
ends
ちで
in
す。
your victory.
この黄金はもはや
This gold no longer
私のも
belongs
の
to
では
me,
なく
but to all of you.
皆さんのもの。
潔いことだ
It
ね。
seems you're a graceful loser.
ねえ
Hey,
あん
You.
たもし非分の
If
謎
we
を
hadn't
私
solved
た
the
ちが解
epitaph
けなかったらど
What
う
were
す
you
るつもりだ
planning
っ
to
た
do?
の？
後ろ宮家の
well, it
す
is
べて
said
を
that
頂
you
戴
take
すると
everything of the
手
Ushimiya
紙があ
family.
ったぜ。
はい。
Yes,
後宮家のすべ
I
ての
plan to
財
take all of
産
your
と
wealth
すべて
and
の
all of your
命
lives.
この島に存
I
在す
plan
る
to
す
do
べ
as I
てを
please with everything that exists
私の
on
好
this
きにさ
island.
せてもらうつもりでした。
The witch walked toward the table next to her bed. Then, for the first time, the others realized what sat on that table. There were 4 rifles. There was also a case filled with bullets. The witch picked up one of the lead bullets lying on the table and played with it, her face still expressionless as she spoke.
もし皆さんが非分
This
の
night
謎を解
ended
けず
before
に
you
今
managed to
夜を
solve
終
the
えたなら
epitaph's riddle.
私は非分に
I
従
plan to
い
follow the epitaph and
13
commit
人を殺
13
す殺
murders.
人事件を起こすつもりでした。
What did you say?
あの碑文を初めて
That's
見
what
た
I
時
thought when
は
I
思っ
first
た
saw that epitaph.
まるで
It almost looks
連
like
続
something
殺
you'd
人を
find in a
描いた
serial murder
推理
mystery
小
novel.
説に出てきそうね。
That's right.
あの碑文の
If
通
you'd
り
killed
に
13
13
people
人
to
が
match the
次々に
epitaph,
殺されたら
that would have made for quite a
それは
mysterious
とてもミ
crime.
ステリアスな事件になったでしょうね。お前一
There's
人
no way you could do
そ
that
れ
all
が
by
できるわ
yourself.
けもありません。いくら銃
No
があ
matter
って
how
も
many guns you had,
13人も
killing
殺すなど
13 people,
いくら
that
なん
would
で
just
も
be...
計画は入念
I
に
formed my plan with
そ
great
して
care
何通りにも
and
用意してい
constructed
ました。
several alternatives.
皆さんが
I envisioned
今
all
夜
of
か
the
ら
actions
明日ま
you
で
might
に
take
取り
through
得る
tonight
すべての可
and
能
through
性を
tomorrow.
想定し
I prepared a mystery to
そ
deal
の
with
すべ
each
て
of
に
those.
対応できる今となっては披露はで
I'm
きませ
afraid
ん
I cannot reveal those at this point,
それは綿密
but
に
it
練られ
really
た
was a tightly knit set
愉
of
快な
pleasant
密室
close
殺
room
人の
murders.
数々を用意していたのです。
ほんの数人なら
If
銃
there
で
were
ぬ
just
く
a
び
few
を
of
か
us,
くことも
you
できたろうよ。
probably could have gunned us down in our sleep.
だが
But there's no way you could
さ
have
すが
killed
に
13 of
13
us.
人も殺せ。俺たちはそこま
We
で
aren't
間抜
that
きじゃねえぜ。
そのようですね。
It would seem so.
少なくとも
At any rate,
第一の晩
I
以前に
predicted
非
that
分
the
の謎
epitaph
を
being
解かれ
solved
ると
before
い
the
う想
first
定
fight
は
was the most unlikely
最
of
も可能
results.
性の低いものだと思っていました。
君にとっては
And it seemed that us
私たち
reaching
が
this
ここ
place
へ
was
た
a
どり着くのは
miscalculation on your
ど
part.
うやら誤算だったようだね。
No,
いいえ、
no.
これすらも
Even this was
私
one
の
of the
望んだ
results
ル
of
ー
the
レットの
roulette I
結
wished
果の
to
一
create.
つ。そしておそらく
This is probably the best
皆
outcome
さんに
for
と
all
っ
of
て
you.
最高の結果を意味誰も死ぬことなく
No one will die.
黄金を手に
And you can leave the
島を
island
出る
with the
ことが
gold.
できる。おめでとうございます。
Congratulations.
ゲームは
This game
皆
ends
さん
with a
の完
perfect
全な
victory
勝
for
利
you
で
all.
す。
If no one could solve the riddle, you planned to take a gun and commit a serial murder. Everyone gulped as they watched the witch emotionlessly make her confession.
あなたの告白が真
If this
実なら
confession of yours is the truth,
あなたは私
That
た
means
ちを
you're trying to
殺そう
kill
と
us.
してたことになるの。
はい、
yes,
そうです。
that is true.
こいつ
The hell?
よくもシャ
How
ー
can you
シャ
just
ー
say
と
it
言え
like
るもんだ
that?
ぜ。
そこまで打
You
ち明
couldn't
けた以
possibly
上
expect us to treat you
我々
favorably
が
after
君を
revealing
好意
that
的
much
に
to
扱
us.
うとは
right?
思えないはずだな。
覚悟の上
I
で
am
す。
prepared. 私
のことは
You may do as you
見
will
る
with
なり
me.
焼くなりお好きな皆さんが碑文を
If
解
you
けな
hadn't
ければ
solved the epitaph, I
そう
would
な
have
って
done
い
the
たの
same
は
to you.
皆さんなのですか
So
ら
it is only
これ
fair.
は対等なことなのです。
この姉ちゃん
This girl's
大
got
した
cuts
肝っ玉やで。
命を落とす
I
覚
planned
悟
this
があっ
game
たからこ
because
そ
I was
用
prepared
意
to
した
bet
ゲ
my
ーム
life.
でした。その結果を得
I
ら
am
れた
satisfied with the result.
私は満足しています。もはや
If you wish to kill me
殺さ
now,
れようとも
I am
そ
prepared.
れも覚悟の上です。
By now, she didn't even treasure her life. As the witch spoke and walked near the others, they automatically stepped back.
黄金は皆さん
The
のもの
gold
です。
belongs to all of you.
最初に発見した方に全てを差し上げるつもりでしたが
but I didn't expect
7
there
人
to
でい
be
らっしゃる
7
とは
of you.
想定しません。7人でどう分け
I
る
leave
か
the
は
decision of how to split
皆
the
さんで
gold
決
to
めら
you.
れるといいでしょう。私はそれに
I will
関
not
知しま
involve
せん。
myself.
それから
And the witch walked even closer. The group parted, and she walked up to the antique clock behind them. The clock was large and had a dignified feel to it. The witch patted it and spoke.
この時計の仕掛けも
Allow me to explain the
皆さんに
device
ご説
within
明
this
しましょう。
clock.
皆さんは黄金
For
だ
you
け
have
で
gained
な
not just the gold,
くこの島の
but
す
the
べてを
entirety
手
of
に
this
入れられた
island.
のですから。
それはどういう意
What do
味
you
か
mean by that?
第
If
8
you
の
read
番ま
Latin
でを
murder case up until
殺
the
人
eighth
事件風
twilight,
に読み解いたら
then only 13 people
確
are
かに
killed.
殺されるのは13人でも第9の
But
番
by
に
the
は
ninth twilight,
誰も生き
it
残り
clearly
は
says
しない
that
と
none
記
are
さ
to
れ
be
てい
left
るわ
alive.
どういうことだ。
What does that mean?
こいつはつまり
That she was
俺た
planning
ち
to
を皆
massacre all
殺
of
しに
us?
しようって企んでた。
まさか
Don't tell me.
その
That
時計を
clock.
お察しの
As
通り
you
で
have
す。
guessed,
爆薬と連
it
動
is
してい
linked to a
ます。
set of explosives.
その仕掛けを用意した
Are you
の
the
はあ
one
な
who
た
set that up?
それとも
Or is that
後ろ宮
Ushimiya
金蔵な
Kinzo?
の
仕掛けを作ったのは
Kinzo
後
is
ろ
the
宮
one
金
who
蔵
set up
で
the
す。
device.
この仕掛けこそが
It's the source of his
彼
mad
の狂
magical
気の魔
power.
力の源泉。
何を言ってるの
I don't have a clue
か
what you're
さ
talking
っぱり
about.
や。
つまり
In other words,
親父は爆
Dad
弾を
set up
用意
this
して
bomb.
無一文
And
に
if
なっ
he
た
ever
ら
went
いつでも
broke,
綺麗さっ
he's
ぱ
ready
り
to wipe out everything.
自分ごと全てを吹き飛ばして死んじまう覚悟があったってわけ。
後ろ宮金蔵はこ
On
の
this
島で
island, Ushimiya Kinzo made a contract with the Golden Witch
黄
and
金を得
obtained
ま
the
した。
gold.
しかし、得
However,
たのは黄
that
金だ
was
けでは
not
なか
all
った
he
の
gained.
です。
どう
What
い
are
う
you
ことです
talking
か
about?
まさか
Hey,
と
don't tell me.
六軒島には
There is that
旧
rumor
日
about
本
the
軍の
remains
基
of
地
an
跡
old
があ
Japanese
ると
military
いう
base
噂
existing
話
on
を聞いたこと
Rakunjima.
まさか
Could it be?
ご検察
Your
の通り
guess
で
is
す。
correct.
この島の地下に
Beneath
は
this island sleeps the
戦時
remains of
中
an
の旧
underground
日本
Japanese
軍の
military base from
地
the
下
time
基
of
地
the
跡が
war,
眠っています。そしてそこには
along with 900 tons of
900トン
explosions.
の爆薬も眠っているので
900
す。
tons of explosives.
900
900
トンやっ
tons?
てとんで
That's
もない量
unbelievable.
や。そない爆
If that
発したら
exploded, the result would be
そのボタン
unimaginable.
屋敷どころ
Forget
か
just the mansion blown up, it'll leave a massive
クレーター
crater.
がつくやで。
専門家の推定
I
では
believe an expert estimate put it at a
直径
hole
1
several dozen meters deep.
深さ
and a
数十メー
kilometer
トルの
across.
大穴が開くとか。
跡形も
There wouldn't be
残
even
る
a trace left.
この爆弾は
These explosives
特
can
別
be
な仕掛
ignited
けで
by a
爆発
special
します
device.
私が今操
One
作した
connected to the activation switch I just
こ
flipped,
れが起動のスイッチです。
which toyed with a switch on the top part of the antique clock.
この状態で
If
24時を
midnight
迎
arrives
え
when
る
the
と
switch is in
爆
this
発し
position,
ます。
the bombs will explode.
もうすぐ
It's
24
almost
時です
midnight now.
つまり
In other words,
残り何
It
時
won't
間で
explode
爆
X
発する
hours after you
というの
flip
で
it.
はなく24時ぴ
It's
っ
the
たり
time
に
of
し
the
か
bomb
爆
that
発
only
しない
explodes
次元
at
爆弾
midnight.
というわけね
いかにも
Indeed,
もうじき24時を
It is
迎
almost
えます
midnight
ね
now.
もし爆発を
if
お
such
望
an
みでした
explosion
ら
is what you desire,
この
you
ま
need
ま
to
にし
only
てお
leave
き
it
ま
like
す
this.
バカ言ってんじゃ
Oh,
ない
not
わよ
that.
解除しな
Cut
さ
it
い
off! By this time, Kinzo was probably the only one who knew. The secret base on Rakunjima had started out as a submarine base. However, when that plan reached a standstill, it was redefined as a top-secret base for homeland defense. A huge plan had been drawn up to have the Army and Navy perform a pincer attack on American forces if they later decided to land on Kujukiri Beach and press forwards towards Tokyo. As a trump card for this massive defensive maneuver, the Navy started stockpiling large quantities of explosives and fuel in absolute secrecy. And the Rakunjima base was the location of that top-secret stockpile. The buried explosives weighed 900 tons in total. Also, fearing that the Americans might find out the island's secrets and seize the explosives, they set up a system for the self-destruction of the entire island. Kinzo, who knew all of this, decided not to remove this device, but to tie it in with this strange clock that could trigger such an explosion any night at midnight. Ginza was famous for building up his funds using a vast store of gold, then using those funds in several sink-or-swim gambles, one after another. Just what did his stockpile of gold and the 900 tons of sleeping explosives mean to him? At this point, we can only guess. Perhaps the true source of Kinzo's mad power wasn't the gold after all. If he lost a big gamble and all that he owned, he could erase his entire island from existence with this device. For the rest of his life, he must have put the gold and everything else he had on the line. Kinzo probably stared at this clock at times, sometimes flipping the activation switch and letting it tick down. Maybe whenever he came up against a troubling problem, he would hide in here and flip the switch, with the intention of blowing everything away if he didn't think of a brilliant plan before midnight came. That's definitely motivation. He could gaze at this mountain of gold, listening to the clock tick towards his death as he searched for an idea. Perhaps Tsushimiya Kinzo's real study wasn't the one in the mansion, but this place instead. That sort of switch sounds just like Dad. So, maybe each time Dad worried about something, all of us kids were put on the line as well. It's his father, so it wouldn't be unthinkable. Wouldn't put it past Kinzo. This device now belongs to all of you. If you desire a massive explosion, use it whenever you please. Are you crazy? What on a big explosion? These explosives are half a century old, right? Did they really go off? Yes, of course. The explosives and the fuses are still working. I tested them myself. You tested them? You mean that? I see. Now I finally understand. The shrine? So that's when the shrine disappeared without a trace. That summer, the shrine had disappeared completely, along with the reef under it. Though people found it odd that the waves could have wiped it out so completely, no one paid it much mind. And now, this piece fits perfectly into the holes that caused that strange feeling. Indeed. I used that shrine to test whether the explosives were still working after half a century. I believe you are all aware of the result. The little bit I used was enough to make that entire reef vanish. It's easy to see how 900 tons of that would cause an explosion large enough to rewrite the map. If an explosion like that were to occur, it would certainly kill all of us. But what about you? I doubt you're planning to commit a group suicide with us. This underground VIP room is connected by a subterranean passage to the remnants of the military base. If you go straight along that, you'll come out at the hidden mansion on the opposite side of the island, Kuadorian. It's about 2 kilometers away. If you make it all the way there, you should be able to escape the blast. I see. So, you plan to escape there just before the blast. I've only said such a thing is possible. You may not believe this, but if the night's twilight ended before any of you could solve the riddle, I plan to die along with everything else. There's something seriously wrong with this girl. It's insane. There's no point overthinking it. If we hadn't solved the epitaph, we wouldn't have used those guns. Or else that switch. And that's for all of us, right? There's no doubting that now. Kinda your sister, guys. You were correct. You have ended this game in the best possible way, without there being even a single victim. I wish to convey my respect and admiration. There may have been 7 of you, but you did solve that riddle, which took me so long to solve in a single night.
それは称えられるべきです。
That is worthy of praise.
私も
And I
君の
admire you
潔
for
さ
your
に敬意を
graciousness and
表す
honesty
る
in defeat.
君の処遇はこれから考
We'll
える
decide how to deal with
極
you in the
力
future,
紳士的なものになるよ
but I
う
intend to do
配
all I
慮する
can
つ
to
も
reach
り
a
だ。
gentlemanly agreement.
私のことは
Pay me no mind any
もう気に
longer.
なされず、私は
I
皆
am
さんを
already one of
殺
the
し、
dead, who
自
is
ら
already
も死ぬ
prepared to
覚
kill
悟をす
everyone
で
and
にして
die
いる
myself.
亡者なのですから。
The Golden Witch Beatrice solved the epitaph, reached this room, and revived. And now, new people had solved the riddle and reached this room, so her role was finished. When the epitaph's riddle was solved, Beatrice's illusion of the witch ended. Most likely, no one in this room was capable of understanding her grim determination. She herself was probably the only one who understood. As long as the many cells inside of her understood, that was enough. I am one, yet many. I abandon myself to the magical roulette of the endless possibilities. The result, the answer, is this. This is what the tarot cards known as the epitaph ceremony have shown me. Beatrice is already dead. They did not kill her. I killed her myself, in accordance with fate's command. They will never understand, for all eternity. The witch stared up at the ceiling without speaking for a while, then looked as though she'd suddenly remembered something. She grabbed at the sleeves of her dress and took out some sort of card.
そうそう。
Oh, yes,
忘れていました。
I forgot.
私に死に銭など必要はありませんので、これも皆さん
I
に
will
お
give
渡し
this
し
to
ま
all
す
of。you as well. A
Cash
cash card?
黄金の一部を
I've
現
converted
金
a
化してい
portion
ま
of the
した。
gold to cash.
それが入っている
This
口
is
座
for
で
the
す。
account that the money is in.
なるほどな。
I see.
黄金の魔
So
女の
this is the source of the
ま
golden
さに
witch's
魔
magical
法エネル
energy.
ギーっちゅうわけやな。
いくら入っているんだね。
詳しくは忘れ
I've
ました。
forgotten the details.
でも、
However, there is
10
more
億
than a
以上は
billion
入って
yen.
います。
10億
Billion?
そりゃ
That
確かに
really
魔
would
法
be
だぜ。
magic.
そうね。
True.
それだけのお
There's
金
nothing
で
you couldn't do with
で
that
きな
much
いこと
money.
はないでしょうからね。
そうですね。
Very true.
人間の半魔法
strongest
の毒
magic
素に
account of the
最も
human's
強い
anti-magic
唯一の魔
toxin
法が
is this
こ
magic of
の黄
gold.
金のある意味
It may be that this
この
card
カード
holds
は
greater
インゴット
power
より
than
も
the ingots.
強い力を持つかもしれません。
全くだ。
Certainly.
インゴットより
Cash would be much
現
more
金の
agreeable
方
than
が
ingots.
喜ばれるものだ。
どうぞ。
Here you go.
私にはもは
I
や
have no need of this
不
anymore.
要なものですので。
The card she held out was not taken by any of them. Who would ever just hand over a card with 1 billion yen in it? Mountain of gold, the device for blowing up the island, the card with 1 billion yen. Oh, these surpassed their understanding. So, no one could bring themselves to take it.
気に入らないわ。
I don't like it.
何がですか？
What don't you like?
黄金の
Here you
山
go.
を
Here's
はい
the
どう
mountain of
ぞ。
gold.
爆弾も
And I'll
解除
turn
し
off
ま
the
す。
explosives
10
and
億
give
の
you a
カー
card
ドも
with 1
どう
billion
ぞ。
yen while we're at it.
話がうますぎ
Sounds
て
far too
気持
good to
ち
be
悪いの
true.
よ。あんた。
You're trying to trick us
何か
somehow,
私
aren't
た
you?
ちを騙そうって企んでるんじゃない。
騙す気もありませんが、
I have no desire to
信
try
じ
to,
ろとも
to
言いま
trick
せ
you,
ん。
but I won't try and force you to believe.
私はすべてを差し出
I've
し、
offered you everything.
すべてを
revealed
渡してい
everything.
ます。何を信じ、
What you believe and what you
どうしよう
do is now for you.
それはも
The
う
new masters of the gold
新
to
しい黄
decide.
金の主である身、私の言うことを
You are
何
even
も
free to
信じず、
disbelieve all I say and leave this
この場を
place.
立ち去ることさえ皆さんの自由です。
エヴァ、
Eva,
彼女が嘘を言
I
ってい
can't
ると
imagine that
思え
she's lying.
なんでそうだって
And
わ
how
か
could
る
you
の
know
よ。
that?
こいつの
I
余
don't
裕が
like
気
how
に入ら
relaxed
ない
she's
の
acting.
よ。まるでもうす
It's
べ
as
て
though
に
she
勝利
thinks
した
she's
かのよう
already
だわ。
won.
私、
I just had an
今ふ
idea
と思った
a
の。
second ago.
爆弾のスイ
What
ッ
if
チ
she's
とか
lying
いう
about
の。
which is the
オン
off
とオ
side
フ
of the
が
switch?
逆じゃないの？
What do you mean, Nei-san?
どういうこと？
ね、さっきその女は
Just a second
爆
ago,
弾を
this
解
woman
除
flipped
す
the
ると言
switch
って
the side
そ
she
の
said
ス
would
イ
turn
ッ
off
チ
the
をいじっ
bomb.
た。実はそ
What
の
if that
時
actually armed the
スイッ
bomb?
チをあんたは
We
私た
solved
ち
the
に謎
riddle,
を解かれた
so
ん
you
で
turned the bomb
私
switch
た
to
ちご
on,
と全てを
trying to
吹き飛
blow
ば
us
す
and
ために
everything else up,
爆弾
right?
のスイッチをオンにしたんじゃ。
そうお思いでしたら
That is what you think.
どうぞそ
Then
の
feel
時
free
計
to
のスイッチを入
flip
れ
the
てくだ
switch
さい
on this clock.
あと1分で
It will be midnight in 1
24 時
minute.
真実は
The
時
clock
計
will
が
show
教
you
え
the
てくれ
truth.
ます
What did you say?
おい
Hey,
どうすんだ
what are
よ
we supposed to do?
今爆弾は
Is
オ
the
ン
bomb
な
set to on now?
オフなのか
On or off?
彼女が嘘を
I
言って
can't
ると
imagine that she's
思
lying.
え今が解除だ
It's inactive now.
押すべきではな
We
い
shouldn't flip it.
でも気に入
But
ら
I
ないの
don't
よ
like it.
なんでこんな
Why
に
is she
素直
so
な
resigned
の
to
こ
her
いつ
fate?
なんでこうも
Why is she offering us things one after another?
こいつは私
She's
たちを
tricking
騙
us
し
to
て
buy
時間を
time.
稼い24時にな
She
るま
wants
で
to buy
時間
time
を
until
稼いで
midnight so that she can go down in
私たちを
flames
道
along
連
with
れ
us.
にするつもりだわ
そのスイッチは
What
どうな
about
って
the
る
switch
オン
itself?
かオフか
Is
分
there
か
some
る
way to
形
tell
状
if
な
it's
の
on or off? On the upper part of the antique clock was a metal switch that could slide right or left. Right now, it was set to the left. However, there are no marks in particular on either side to tell one which was off and which was on.
おい
Hey,
白
tell
状
us
し
the
ろ
truth.
どっちがオフなん
Which
だ
way is off?
左が
Left.
今がオフで
It's
す
off now.
バカルドル
You
フ
idiot! You really expect an honest answer from her?
逆よ
That's the
逆
opposite.
に決
It
まっ
has
て
to
るわ
be.
右がオフ
The
なの
right
よ
side
そ
must
う
be
に違い
off.
ない
もう時間
We
がない
don't
わ
have
姉
any
さ
more
ん
time, Nathan.
よせエヴァ
Quit it, Eva.
スイッチをいじる
Don't
な
touch the switch.
今がオフだ
It's set to off now.
エヴァさんその手
Eva,
を
take your
離
hand
しな
off
さい
it.
私も同感よ
I agree.
今がオフだ
It's off now.
もし私
If
た
she
ちを
wanted to
爆
kill us
弾
with
で
the bomb,
殺すつもりなら
she wouldn't have told us
彼
about
女
it.
は爆弾の話を告白ベアトリーチ
Beatrice,
私を
don't
騙
think
そ
you
う
can
った
trick me.
5
5,
4
4, 3.
3
The second hand of the clock ticked past midnight. October 4th ended, and the curtain rose on October 5th, 1986. The switch was still pointing to the left. The witch's words had been proven correct.
これで
Have I
信
gained
用
your
してい
trust
ただけ
now?
ましたか
You bitch.
あの
With a hideous, sweat-covered expression, Eva snatched the cash card away from the witch's hand.
通帳と印
How
鑑
how about a bank book and seal?
カードだけじゃ
We
引き
can't
出せな
withdraw
いわ
anything
よ
with just a card.
暗証番号で引
All
き
you
出せ
need
ま
is
す
the pin.
8桁です
It's 8 digits long.
ちょっと待ちなさいよ
Wait a second.
今書くから
I'm writing it down. Eve and Kiri both took out a pen and notepad and began writing the 8-digit number the witch told them.
これで
That is everything I have to
私から
tell you
皆さんへ
and
伝
give
える
and to give you.
もう私は
I will
自
say
ら
nothing
何も
more.
喋りません役目をすべて
All of my tasks have been completed. After saying this, the witch spun around and sat down on the bed. She wasn't even looking at the others anymore. She sat there like an empty husk which had, just as she had said, finished everything it existed to do. For a while, everyone watched the witch to see if she would remember something else and start talking. However, she said nothing else. The witch, who had called herself one of the dead, was now little more than a large French doll wearing a black dress. Umineko no Naku Koro Nichiru, Nocturne of Truths and Illusions. Gold is the only physical embodiment of magic that can exist in the human world. Since ancient times, even a small bit of it could control men with its magic. In that case, how much magic power would dwell in it? If it was piled up in a mountain so high you'd have to look up to see the top. Don't be stupid. We'll split it evenly. Isn't that the obvious solution? Did we say that half of this pile would belong to me, and the other half would be split between the four of us? The yells of the humans dancing around the gold reverberated throughout the underground room. In front of the pile of gold, they were arguing about how it should be split. Did you solve the riddle all by yourself, Nissan? You didn't, right? The four of us siblings solved it together. Of course we'll split it in 4 equal parts. Coward. Weren't you the ones who first made that proposal about the gold's distribution? How can you disregard that so easily? You really think you're in a position to bargain when you're the ones hiding Dad's death? Yeah. You've been swindling us this whole time, treating Father's wealth as if it were your own. All you need to do is split the gold evenly, and we'll drop all the rest, including that particular issue. It sounds very fair to me. Well, if you insist, go ahead and try splitting it 4 ways. Let's divide this pile up right now, and you can take all your own shares home. I hope you have pockets that can hold 2.5 tons of ingots. It seems you've all been driven mad by the gold and lost all ability to make rational judgments. What do you mean by that, Kraus Nissan? Look at this ingot. As you can see, there are no official markings, just Father's crest. How do you intend to turn unmarked gold like this into cash? Well, have you finally figured it out? This pile of gold may be worth 20 billion yen. However, that's only if you can trade it for cash. Are any of you capable of exchanging this many unmarked, unidentified ingots for cash at the proper rates? If it was a necklace or a ring, exchanging it for cash would have been a manageable problem. However, doing that for several tons of unmarked gold that couldn't be made public would be impossible for any normal person. However, Kraus could do it. Among the several business friends that remained from Kinsel's generation, there were some who had black market ties and a lot of financial power. The billion yen tied to the cash card that the Golden Witch had held out a second ago had already been turned to cash thanks to one of Kinsel's connections. However, none of the other siblings had any connections like that. They would have to rely on Kraus to get cash for the gold. Now you're finally seeing it. I apologize for hiding all those things about Father. However, you're in no position to take advantage of that weakness. You really think you have an advantage just because of something like that? What do you intend to do with that gun? Please, you're scaring us. Eva was gripping the gun so hard it looked like it might snap. The 4 guns that the witch had placed in this room were now in the hands of the relatives. Just as the gold had led their hearts astray, it seemed these guns had the magical power to turn their hearts to violence. Not in and of itself. Finally, a scuffle arose between Eva and Kraus. Off to the side, Natsui started arguing with Rudolph and his wife, and the grand underground VIP room was filled with thundering jeers. After being forced to watch this scene for so long, Angie's face was starting to contort with pain. It was only natural, after being shown this abusive argument between her parents and her other relatives. What on earth? It was painful for Leon too. Leon would have tried to intervene and calm them, if that had been possible. The gold isn't going anywhere, right? If you just slow down and think, you'll be able to resolve this. Going by what Eva and the others said, it's clear that they'll need a lot of money before the end of the year. However, the billion-yen cash card should be more than enough to pay for that. That would handle their emergency expenses, so they could then convert the gold to cash at their leisure, and just split it amongst themselves. Sure, maybe Kraus was the only one capable of converting the gold. That might give them an advantage over the other siblings. However, this gold couldn't be dealt with by open means. In addition to attracting public attention, it would also lead to various legal problems. It was better for the secret money to remain secret. If they wanted to get the largest portions possible, then they should all agree not to tell anyone about this gold. In other words, to maximize their profits, they would all need to make a gentleman's agreement to keep the secret. Kraus did have a slight advantage. However, it was possible for the other relatives to refuse to cooperate and tell the world about the gold. And then there was also the concealment of Kinzo's death to consider. Kraus was an investor. He needed not only financial clout, but also a certain degree of public confidence in him. His advantage isn't big enough for him to act so overbearing. The mountain of gold has made everyone lose their ability to think rationally. This isn't an argument between adults. It's just a fight between kids. What's the fun about showing us this? Or is this the game of some new witch? Are they watching us suffer from somewhere and laughing? By now, even I didn't have a clue who was showing this to us, or for what reason. At the very least, this new tale did seem to be overflowing with affection. At first, I thought it was a tale of a beautiful world where no crime occurred and Claire's regret had vanished. But something's different. This tale is clearly filled with ill will towards us. I'm sure of that much now, but I don't have a clue who would want to show us this. Suddenly, an explosion rang out. I didn't think it was the sound of gunfire. After all, people living a normal life never hear that kind of sound. I've heard it quite a bit, so... Of course, I'm in America, so... Drip, 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 drip. It was the sound of thick raindrops hitting the floor. There was no rain in this underground room. It was blood dripping down from Natsuhi's right eye. The bullet had gone in through her right eye, towards the back of her head. Natsuhi? It's your fault for jumping at me. The gun, which fell from Eva's grasp, landed on the floor with a hard metallic clang. As though in response to that sound, Natsuhi's head slowly turned to face the ceiling. Natsuhi? Natsuhi! Natsuhi flopped backwards. When the back of her head hit the floor, a red splash spread out beneath it, forming a single flower to adorn her dead face. Natsuhi-san. Why did you shoot her? Why, Eva? Eva! Kraus howled, raised his gun, and ran at Eva. At the same time, Hideyoshi leapt between them. A scuffle broke out between the two men. How could you? Natsuhi! Kraus-san, you've got it wrong. You've got it all wrong. It was just an accident. Eva, how could you? I'll kill you. I'll kill you. I didn't shoot. I didn't. Even though I told her to stop, she just jumped at me. Kraus, who had just seen his wife killed before his eyes, had lost all traces of rationality in his expression. He was so furious that if he knocked Hideyoshi aside and jumped at Eva, he might have torn her throat out. Why did you kill her? Why? Eva! It was an accident. An accident. Calm down, Kraus-san. Another explosion rang out. Hideyoshi's face was covered with blood. The two of them had been fighting over the gun Kraus held, trying to push it away from themselves. The barrel had turned to point at Kraus's chin. The sneering, formless reaper, master of the Room of Gold, had swung its scythe once more. A line of blood trickled from Kraus's mouth. The two fell down, with Krause's body on top of Hideyoshi. Letting out a cowardly cry, Hideyoshi backed away before Krause's body could cover him. Dear, I didn't do anything. Krause-san, you're just cut on the trigger. It's an accident. An accident, I tell you. That's right. An accident. This was all an accident. And as the pair of them broke down sobbing and repeatedly claiming that it was all an accident, Rosa and the others were unable to say a thing. The witch also watched this scene, but said nothing, and appeared to be completely disinterested. It wasn't our fault. It was just an accident. You saw, right? 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 You saw that, didn't you, Rosa? Krause-san and Lucy both let their emotions get a hold of them and charged at us. Who knows? I couldn't say either way. Stupid Rosa. You saw it, didn't you? You saw it from right there. So you must know. I'm sorry. I can't tell if it happened by accident, or if you killed them and tried to make it look like an accident. Rosa. Rudolph-kun. You saw. You know what happened, right? Right? Sorry, but I agree with Rosa. We can't tell if it was an accident or intentional. Rosa's and Rudolph's gazes looked very cold and indifferent to Eva and her husband. What are we going to do? If we're shot to death. Saying it was a simple accident won't convince anyone. The forest. We'll say they went to the forest and went missing. That'll pass some time. That won't get us off the hook, right? Police will just search the whole forest. Anyway, why would those two go off into an uncultivated forest like that? It looks suspicious from the start. There's no way we'll get away with it. It'll be okay. Have the corpses here, no one will be able to find them. If we all play dumb, it'll work. It won't. There's no way you can fool the police. The two of them disappeared during a family conference where we were arguing over the inheritance problem. The police won't just put it down as a case of missing persons. I just had an idea. Though Eva had been scratching at her head, overcome with emotion, her arms suddenly fell as though their strings had been cut. What did you think of? An accident. You just need to make it look like an accident. Idiot. What kind of accident? There are clear gunshot wounds on both corpses, right? Even if we burn them to make it look like they were caught in a fire, it'll still be obvious they were killed by guns. Fire? That's not good enough. We need more. A much more massive accident. Massive accident? Eva slowly walked forward, tapped it, and spoke. Explosion accident. We just need the sort of accident that will leave no traces of the corpses. As she played with the switch that would cause an automatic explosion at midnight, Eva spun around to look at them, a crazed expression on her face. It was truly a mad flash of inspiration. If they switched the flip to the right and waited for midnight, the 900 tons of explosives would wipe out the mansion without a trace. There wouldn't even be anything left of the corpses. There certainly wouldn't be any way to tell that they had died by gunshot wounds before the explosion. It's an unshakable fact that this island is still filled with explosives from the war. Then, by coincidence, tomorrow night, something will set it off by chance, and the whole thing will explode. Yes, it'll be an accident. An explosion accident. What do you say? There's no way the police will find out the truth. This way we can pull it off. We can hide the manner of their deaths. crazy.
バカな。
Shaking, Hideyoshi frantically searched for a counter-argument, hoping to shut Eva's mad idea. But he couldn't find one. If they blew everything up, the facts would all be muddled. They could make it look as though Kraus and Matsui had died in an explosion accident. Perfect. It was perfect. After all, it was an accident that they died anyway. We're just changing the type of accident. Isn't that right? We can think up any story we want. By chance, the rest of us will happen to be in the Hidden Mansion tomorrow night. Then, when the explosion accident occurs, we'll be lucky enough to survive. That story should work. What sort of story are you planning on? What kind of story could explain how the two of them alone remained here, while the rest of us conveniently went to the Hidden Mansion and managed to escape? And that's what we've got to think of now, stupid Rosa. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as we all agree to it. I'll think of something. I am thinking. You all think too. Someone think of something. Calm down, Eva. I'll think about it, and so will everyone else. We'll definitely think of something, and it'll all work out. We'll share the burden. You won't have to carry it all yourself. It'll all be okay. It will. I know we'll think of a good excuse. What kind of excuse? We took the kids and all the servants to go exploring in a general passageway, leaving just the two of them behind. And the rest of us all decided to spend the night in the Hidden Mansion. How could any excuse work? It's insane. And thinking up that insane thing is our job. Why are you acting like this has nothing to do with you? You think of something too. Nei-san, let me ask you a question. If you blow up the island, what will happen to this gold? Well, we've finally gotten our hands on 20 billion yen of gold, and you want to blow it all away? We can just carry it away. Yeah, that's right. The explosion will happen tomorrow at midnight. We have a full day. If we all carry it together, we might... You realize there's 10 tons of it, right? Just how much do you think our small group can carry? Back and forth across this long underground passage that goes all the way across the island. You're being absurd. Here, we have this card, right? The card with the billion yen. That one that woman gave us. We'll just carry as much gold as we can. We have the card and billion yen on top of that. If we split that 3 ways, we'll have more than 300 million each. That should be enough for all of our purposes. I don't like it. You don't like what? We have a mountain worth 20 billion yen right here. Why should we be satisfied with just 300 million each? Eva's face twisted in anguish and was met by Rosa's look of cold unconcern. If we gave Kraus-Nissan his share, we'd each have a share of 5 billion. Subtract the 300 million from the card, and the rest of my share is 4.7 billion. If you agree to pay that much to me, you can do whatever you want with this mountain of gold. What do you think you're saying? So, you don't intend to cooperate? Nei-san, please calm down and listen. This plan will let both of us leave with the maximum amount of money. I want you to go to the police and turn yourself in, admitting that you got into a scuffle and the gun went off. Are you crazy? I don't want to go to the police. Of course, we don't want to say that the crime happened here. The police would find the gold. Yes, how about the rose garden? It's pouring rain now, so the police probably won't find any contradictions at the crime scene. I'll let you think of an excuse for why you and Nissan started fighting while you were holding guns in the rainy rose garden. Please, don't try to get us and our shares involved just because you want to hide your own crime. Rosa. It's not so bad, right?
別に何十年
After
も
all,
食らい込むわけ
it's
じゃ
not
ない
like they'll keep you in jail for several decades.
だって事故なんでし
It
ょ
was an accident, right?
ほんの数年で
You'll
出
be
て
able
こ
to
れ
get
ない
out
の
after just a few years.
罪を償ってきれい
When
にな
you've
って
paid
戻
for
っ
your
てきたら
sins and come
姉
back,
さんの分の
then
黄
you can
金
do whatever you
50
want
億を
with your
好きに
5
すれば
billion.
いい
いやよ
No,
絶
I'd
対に
never do that.
私たちが捕
What
ま
would
ったら
happen if we were arrested?
うちの人の会社
What
は
would
ど
happen
う
to my
なるの
husband's
よ
company?
別にいいじゃ
Who
ない
cares about the
会社なん
company?
て50億
With
もあ
5
るん
billion
だ
yen,
から
working any
も
longer
う
would just be a
働く
waste
のも
of
バカ
time,
バカしいん
right?
じゃない
Rosa had never intended to go along with Eva's proposal. Why would she? If it was a question of maximizing each person's portion, no one had anything to gain from an explosion accident. An explosion would conceal Kraus and Natsuki's death, and it would serve no further purpose. From Rosa's perspective, the ideal outcome would be for them to confess to their crimes without any unnecessary tricks. All she wanted was to change the crime scene from here to a different place. However, Eva didn't want to be arrested. She didn't like having her share shrink from 5 billion to 300 million. But even that was more than enough to cover the amount she had been trying to wring out of Kraus in the first place. She wanted to hide what had happened here, even if it meant blowing away 4.7 billion yen. What would happen if they were arrested? The life, the company, and the trust that Eva had worked so long to build were things that couldn't be bought back with money. So, she wanted to hide Kraus and Natsuhi's death, even if it meant pulling up all 4.7 million yen worth of her gold. But from Rosa's perspective, that was just irrational nonsense. Rosa. What do you think you're doing with that gun, Nei-san?
私も暴
Are you
発と
going
い
to
うこ
have
と
me
で
die in the explosion too?
言い訳がますま
That'll
す
make
難
finding
しく
an
なるわよ
excuse even harder.
それどころか
In fact,
クラウス
it'll
兄
make
さ
it
ん
hard
た
to
ちの
explain away the other two
事故に
deaths
言い
as
難くなるん
accidents
じゃない
too.
かしら3人もの死に
Three
関わっ
whole
た
deaths means
かな
it'll
り
be
大
quite
事
a
件
large-scale crime.
おそらく
It would probably get you the
休憩を
death
して
penalty,
妥当なところ
or
で無
life
期
in
懲
prison,
役
if you're lucky.
軽くても10年以
Even
上
in
は
the
食
best
らい込み
case,
そうね
you'll probably be put away for more than a decade, right?
おとなしく自首しな
Turn
さい
yourself in.
そうすれば
If you do,
不
this
幸
will
な
be
事
no
故
more
がたま
than
た
a
ま
pair
重
of
なったことで
unfortunate
済ませられる
accidents.
わ無論
Of
刑
course,
大した
your
ことは
jail
ない
term won't be too terrible either.
ジョージ君のことは
Don't worry
安心
about
して
George Kun.
私たちでちゃ
We'll
んと
take
面
good
倒を見
care
る
of him.
姉さんの取り分
And
の
we'll make sure
50
that
億
your
は
entire share of 5 billion yen is waiting for you when you get back.
安心して
Eva ground her teeth and glared. The Rosa she knew should have been shaking and obeying her commands. And yet, Rosa wasn't scared. Her blank expression, no, that faint smile, was one that Eva had never seen before.
銃を下ろしなさ
Put
い
the gun down, Nei-san.
頭を冷やせば
Once you calm down,
私の提案が最
you'll
善だ
see
と
that
分か
my
る
plan is the best one.
いいじゃない刑務
Jail
所
isn't so bad, right?
経済行為で考え
Think
て
of
み
it
て
as a financial strategy.
仮に10年
Even if they put you in 10 years,
釈放されれば
there'll be
50億
5 billion waiting for you when you get out.
それって
That's like
年
working
収
for a
5億のお
500
仕事
million yen
ってことでし
salary,
ょ
right?
そう思えば
If you
お
think of
勤
it
め
that
も
way,
楽しくなるん
won't
じゃ
you
ない
enjoy your job more?
嘘だわ
Liar. You just want to steal my share away while I'm in there.
あんたの
Like
男
your
が
man
そうし
did
たよ
to
うに
you.
ね
うちの人のこ
She
と
has
は
nothing
関
to
係
do
な
with
いで
us,
しょ
okay?
私は逃げないわ
I
よ
won't run
お
away.
金を持ち逃
I'd
げなんて
never run away with
絶対に
someone's money.
絶対に
I'll
死な
never
ない
do
よ
it. Rosa's once frigid face was filled with rage. The two howling people pointed their guns at each other, shouting insults. You could smell the gold room's reaper sinking in closer. The smell of gunpowder, the explosive smell of death, filled the room. Drip. A bubble of blood dripped from Rosa's mouth. Poor Angie. Then she fell over lifelessly, like a mannequin someone had pushed over.
Hey.
Eva?
Eva!
It wasn't me. I swear I didn't even pull the
引
trigger.
き金を引いてないのに エヴァ姉さんの銃は
The round in the
さっ
chamber
き
your
夏
gun
日
was
さんを
spent
撃った
when you
時
fired at
弾が
Natsui-san,
空
right?
になったでしょ再装填して
You
ないん
never
だから
reloaded. So even if you pull the trigger, that gun won't kill anyone. Have no fear. As Kiri said this, she maneuvered the lever action with a practiced hand, and the smoke-smelling shell casing was ejected. It hit the floor with a small metallic sound. That tiny sound had a disturbing ring to it. Rosa-san's analysis was a little naive. She has no idea how difficult it would be to exchange this many unmarked gold ingots for money. Back in Dad's day, even just showing this gold to get funding was enough to create the massive rumor called the Legend of the Gold. Exchanging this for cash is impossible. A pile of gold you can't use is no better than a pile of crap. 10 tons of gold were exchanged for cash in the black market, and his successor and his wife died mysterious deaths. Expecting that to go unnoticed is what's really unbelievable. We don't want to get the police involved. We'll blow up this island and destroy all the evidence. If it's tough parting with the gold, feel free to grab as much as you can hold. The billion yen on the cash card is more than enough. In other words, Eva-san was right. Go ahead. It looks like we're on the same page. If the police get involved, who knows what might happen. It's the same with cashing in the gold. I'm sure that would have tripped us up somewhere, so we had no choice. The $1 billion that woman over there exchanged for cash is the only money we'll be able to get our hands on. And even splitting that billion will be more than enough for what we need. On top of that, now that Rose is dead, our shares have increased even more. We can each leave this island with 500 million. Exactly. As long as we don't let our greedy desire to cash in the gold and control us, we can pretend that everything that occurred on this island never happened. We have a way to do that right here. By this point, neither deaths from accidental discharges nor shooting murders meant anything on this island. Everything would be erased equally by the explosion accident. No matter what happened between now and midnight the next day, everything would be rewritten. And you told me to turn myself in? Stupid Rosa. You weren't satisfied with just 300 million? This is what you get for being too greedy. You brought this upon yourself. Kiri-san, there was no need to shoot her, right? Even Rosa-san would have figured it out if you just told her. I did need to shoot her. After all, Rosa-san's the only one who didn't fire her gun. What does that matter? The guns lying at your feet are Kraus-Nissan's and even Nissan's. Both of those have been fired. However, Rosa-san's gun can shoot if you just pull the trigger. It's hard to reload one of these if you aren't used to a lever action. An amateur would have some trouble pulling it off. Lever actions really neat. Kiri-san, what are you talking about? You... They finally realized what Kiri meant. Rosa had the only gun that could still fire, so I shot her first. Oh, how foolish we were. Why didn't we realize sooner? Even though we knew there was a mechanism for erasing everything that happens on this island, Eva and Hideyoshi hurried to pick up the guns that lay at their feet. At the same time, fire spat from Kiri's gun once more. Hideyoshi let out a short scream, clutched at his chest, and fell over face down. Dear! Dear! Why is this? Eva filled with the lever action, trying to imitate something she vaguely remembered from a Western movie. But something seemed to be caught, and the still open lever didn't budge. See? It's pretty hard. Phew. Kiri finished reloading with a fluid motion. The way she held it was as innocent and sure as a kid playing with a squirt gun. With another heartless cry of gunfire, the puppet called Diva slumped down to the floor as though its strings had been cut. A different game, huh? Rudolph-san. The billion-yen card. An hour or so left? Alright, I guess we can call it for today then. Pick it up tomorrow and try it. Unless, if you know, there's a short little break after this point. But yeah. I was originally theorizing that this was the game Angie came from, which is why she was here. Still potentially possible because they haven't said that Eva died or not, just that she got shot and slumped. Which would work out, I guess, but it's looking weird. Anywho, this will be it for now. But just fiddling with an explosive trigger that goes off at midnight. This story keeps just getting weirder, man. Even with everything solved, there's still a lot of bullshit left to go through. It's like, not bullshit, but just, what the hell? It's still going. There's more to it. We still have the confession thing to go with. If we finish this up, I'll try and finish that up next time. And then another entire episode, and then another chapter in the manga afterwards. And then the previous stuff, the ones before that, Higurashi. How long is it? Alright, cool. Well, you know what? Tomorrow is Friday, right? But I'll finish them all both tomorrow. Even if I overextend, I've wanted to try and extend with extending hours as well. I've normally been stopping at 6 because that was a agreed upon time to stop for satellite because that all got mushed up. But now we've switched over to the new internet system and I still have that old habit and agreement. So I'm going to try it tomorrow, see how well I can do after 6. And we'll finish it all up tomorrow. So, hang in for a long one. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Take care, everybody. Kiddo. Oh! One last thing before I forget. I've been working on doing some painting during the meantime. I'm working on the folds of the dress. I'm going to be redoing this area almost entirely, but I'm working at it. A little bit. Painting is troublesome. The paint doesn't want to stick on the canvas, so there's little white spots all over. It's annoying. But yeah, so I'm working on the painting after the streams, and so I'll have bit by bit as we go along. But anyway, take care, everybody. See you later. It looks good in small resolution. Up close, it's not as good as it could be. Anyway, take care. So long. Till next time. Don't kill your family over a mountain of gold. If that ever happens, just split it